Key jobs data coming up here in just under 1 minute to go. August non-farm payrolls coming through at 8:30 this morning. Key, I mean, it's the biggest number that we've had in the past few months, so we'll see what the actual reaction to the market is, and it could determine whether or not we get a quarter point in the next Fed meeting or 50 basis points. Just keeping my eye on a couple of things here, including the futures. Some of the forecasts, some of the predictions of what this number could be have been all over the place. Some a lot higher than expected, some a lot lower than expected, and that's the first time in a few months we've seen such a wide range in what analysts are predicting, as far as economists are predicting, as far as this number is concerned. But coming up here in about 45 seconds, we'll get this number. Quickly, before the Fed, this is going to be a big deal as far as the market concerned to end the week here.
No question about it, Brendo. We're waiting. We're expecting here growth of 161,000. I'm seeing movement here on the NQ as it moves up aggressively. This could be front running here. We're expecting growth, Brendo, of 161,000 jobs to be added in August, and the unemployment rate to drop slightly to 4.2. Also, the magnitude
I'll jump in here. 142,000, guys. 142,000 versus 165 predicted there. So downside ever so slightly. The forecast overall, 120, so handily beat to the upside, but consensus, again, 160 to 165. So we come in downside ever so slightly there. 142,000, the number for August non-farm payrolls. Unemployment rate, 4.2%, the prior 4.3%, in line with expectations. Average hourly earnings, 0.7%, back higher. A lot of people I was reading yesterday were expecting that number and the overall earnings number to be downside. Doesn't appear to be the case. 3.8% upside for the overall hourly earnings number versus 3.6 expected there. So across the board, yeah, I mean, non-farm payrolls on the private side, 118,000 versus 112. But the main headline number there, 142 versus 120 expected.
Yeah, the wage growth component of the jobs report was going to be important here, Brendo. So good thing it didn't actually decline. We'll keep an eye on that. But the market really taking it in stride, a little above 18,000, 18.8. Now we're at high 18.7. So we'll have to wait for the bell to see what direction we go here.
Yeah, we just got Canadian data as well. Employment change here in this country, 22,000 ads versus 25 expected there. The prior, if you remember, last time around, we lost about 3,000 jobs. So 22,000 added this month here in this country. Just going back to that point we were making before that number came out there, a lot of people, I think, were expecting this to maybe be the indicator of which way the Fed goes, quarter point or 50 basis points. I'm not sure this actually tells that story or not.
No, it's not far off, but you imagine if it missed like the July number, that we would definitely be talking about 50 basis points. A lot of people, as you and I discussed, we're talking about 75 to 100 basis points by the end of the year. And so you wonder how they're going to structure them. Do we get that big 150 and then spook the markets, or do we do it incrementally like the Bank of Canada has done 25 every time?
And the market kind of following suit with that sentiment right now. The initial move higher, we're back downside right now. I mean, still red across the board here as far as the futures are concerned. That's a NASDAQ right now. If I move this over, you can see initial move was up. We print through to basically where we ended the day yesterday, but pulling back in here to the tune of 0.8% for the NASDAQ, about 0.5% for the S&P. Overall, kind of muted, I would say, as far as the market reaction here so far this morning. Obi in for Sean this morning, guys. Good morning.
Obi. Sean's at the rink, everybody. Good morning. But I kind of feel like, are we really getting are we getting 50 basis points off that? I don't know. Like that didn't give you the blood in the water, panic in the streets or anything. And when you had that, it's not even just about the payroll number there. I mean, when you look at that average hourly earnings, that looked pretty good, and that's a little bit of a shock to the upside. So I gotta admit, I don't think you got something definitive here with the number. Kind of hoping we'd get like either a big miss. You just want the market to move at the end of the day. But the NASDAQ holding up pretty decently. Like there was that you-know-what candle. And if you chase moves like that, you can find yourself in trouble. Unless you know it's like blow out of the water, the market should rise on this. But I'm looking at Nvidia. Woohoo! Excuse me.
Bless you.
Couldn't even get to it at that point. I'm looking at Nvidia. Nvidia was just about to break lower and actually go underneath the 830 number, and now it's starting to ride higher. I feel like all roads are going to lead to this stock. Like, how do we fare here with Nvidia? Simply because of what happened with Broadcom. Like, Broadcom last major earnings to report out of the chip names in the sector, and down 8 points initially. I thought that was going to weigh on Nvidia if the market didn't like this NFP number. So the fact that they did, you still haven't punched through any big resistance. Nobody forget about Tesla. Obi, that 235. This is the one holding actually the best right now. If you're looking at, I'm looking at a few names in here. I'm looking at Apple right now. I'm looking at Tesla. I'm looking at Nvidia. Had some eyeballs on a couple of the other Mag 7. But it seems like Tesla is the one that is holding up the best on this bounce. Like, it's right back at the tops. That 235 going to be in play today, Obi.
Yeah, definitely Tesla's going to be on watch a little bit of a day 2, day 3 after what it did yesterday, especially. Kind of been watching it. Yeah, that 235 rejection was pretty solid yesterday. I think I definitely missed it. Was a little preoccupied with Nvidia, but yeah, absolutely beautiful. Exactly 235.00, Neil.
It's unbelievable.
35 highs for almost a full-on 100% reversion. But yeah. Definitely some spicy moves in the market as of late, and yeah, this number kind of initially kind of giving us a little bit of a shake and bake to both sides, but now we're getting a little bit of a bid back towards that 19th. Who would have thunk we're back below 19th out, Neil?
For now, a lot can happen between now and the open. I always say you don't necessarily want to overreact early. That's my MO. You're still down half a point here. I see some people in the chat there, and appreciate you all, Tisha, looking at WHLR. There's a lot of low float runners. You might not care too much about what's going on with the market with the non-farm payrolls with regards to those. Still going to be looking at day 2. It's not just day 2, 3 for things like Tesla, and it's $10 moves 2 days in a row off the open was what Tesla did. But NIO, day 2 on earnings. I'm kind of liking what I see over there, and I don't wonder. Hey, what up, Patrick? And I don't wonder if that might be at least a little bit immune to some of the maneuvering in these markets. As stated, you're still down a half a point, and we're right back to where we were before. And crypto's actually doing pretty decently. There was a test of 55,000. We're at 56.5. Of note in the crypto space, Coinbase broke that August 5th Black Monday low. Mara essentially just tested some big resist or support as well. If they hold on to that, that'll be interesting because both those could be in for a bit of a relief rally. So nice little bounce here in Bitcoin. This is a 15-minute chart for everyone out there. And do not sleep on, like, I mean, when coin lost 160 in the afternoon yesterday, that was, yeah, it was a little bit heavy down there. And really, you're just talking about that August 5th Black Monday low. You've now essentially, I don't want to say liquidity grab because there wasn't a ton of volume down there, and it was really just the last couple of minutes of the day that it was down there. Now you're back above this 160 and trying to go. I feel like this is an over-under. It hasn't even had a green day in the last 2 weeks. And if you can hold on to this bottom here, it's like 161, I think Coinbase has got a chance for sure. Market definitely flying. Well, I'm saying flying. We're down 0.3, and we've essentially moved about 100 points on the NASDAQ. Overnight highs back in play.
Well, things to consider here. They've revised last month's, July's, non-farm number downside as well. It was 114,000. They've revised it back to 89,000, so less than what was initially reported. I think that's probably 3 months in a row, I want to say, that they've done that now. The prior month gets revised back down. So if you missed it or joining a little late here, 142,000 on the August number versus, I mean, the consensus 160,000, 120,000 forecast. Fed fund futures right now pricing in 100 basis points worth of cuts to come off before the end of the year, including, if you look at this is September. Remember, September 18th is going to be the next Fed meeting. This is actually, you know, I mean, even if you slice it down the middle, better part of 50 basis points coming off in September, which could be, I mean, it depends on who you ask, but I mean, to me, that's a little aggressive, I think, to start.
I mean, it's the story of the Fed. I mean, they're always late. You and I telling me off camera that it's tough to do. Obviously, it's a tough job. We'll have to wait and see. The Bank of Canada was doing it quarter point at a time. But I want to mention a couple of things. One, The July report likely came in a little light because of the hurricane that was driving through the United States at the time. A lot of outdoor jobs were canceled. That seems like it was a bit of an outlier. The other thing, every single jobs revision that we got in 2023, Brendo, was revised down. Yeah. None of them were revised up. So there is this consistent pattern of overestimating and then just, we'll fix it later, which is, right? So,
the story that we've been hearing for quite some time. Worth noting, yields downside, 10-year off a cliff right now, 3.65. It's trying to bounce a little bit right here, but 4 days in a row to the downside. The 2-year the same, even if you go out to the 30-year. This has just been straight southbound for the past 4 or 5 months for yields across the board. Dollar not really doing a heck of a lot right now, but we'll keep an eye on the overall market here. Definitely liking this. I think the narrative more than the actual number itself, guys, helping stocks here to kick things off on a Friday.
Yeah, revisions. That's what it's all about. Because they never get these ones exactly right. And Apple, the market's at those highs, but I was just talking with Obi. I'm looking at, Nvidia still feels a little bit heavy. Can't seem to get past even afternoon resistance. But I'm looking at Apple as well. The market, Apple's up on the day. Don't get me wrong. It's actually up today. Ooh, Randy. I was waiting for the reveal because I got to ask you. Randy just brought us coffees, obviously, you guys can see. But he also brought us 2 blueberries.
2 blueberries. Oh, damn.
Is this shrinkflation right here? Okay. All right. So apparently it's tough times at Trader TV Live because we can only afford, I have no idea why, but there was an entire bowl of fruit and we each get I'll let you have the bigger one there, Romy.
Sure.
There you go. Yeah. So this is probably going to be the most delicious blueberry ever.
Breakfast.
It wasn't sour, Romain. It was okay.
That was pretty good. I enjoyed the blueberry.
I wouldn't mind if we had 4 or 5 more of those, or I don't know. Randy's a fun character, everybody. No, everything's absolutely fine. Actually, I did see the bowl of fruit, and it's like a bunch of other stuff, and there weren't many blueberries in there. So I'm sure what Randy did is he probably just went in and got the only 2 blueberries in the entire bowl and shared them with us. But what I was sort of getting at there is we're not breaking through big levels right now, and that's that's got me a little bit tepid. Here, Obi, because here, I'll show you 2. These are the 2 I was going to talk about. This move up, we just got back to highs in the NASDAQ, overnight highs. Nvidia can't punch through the afternoon resistance at 108. 110's been resistance for the last 2.5 sessions. Apple basically just went green, didn't even get to afternoon resistance points. So I don't think this is like a wheel it out there and be super excited by the move that we're seeing. Tesla, on the other hand, this is why I was saying Tesla's relatively strong. It got up to that 235 again. And if it's going to hold out previous close, I think you take the stairs to the upside. Random oddities, why is the dollar on the table? Most of the random stuff that we have here, the bear and bull, it sort of speaks for themselves. I tend to change it if I think there's a really big thing going on and then Randy has it. Randy just brought the dollar and Randy brought the toonie yesterday.
Have you ever kept like a piece of money on your table while trading?
No.
Because I used to do this at home. I used to put like a $100 USD bill just in front of me just to be like, all right, at the end of the day you want to disassociate from whatever this is. At the end, I don't know. It's a little bit of a. I know some people like to do that.
I've heard. Okay, so I've seen traders. I've seen traders
Wayne
do it.
Puts a dollar bill there as well.
Wayne at the desk has some interesting things.
Yeah.
He's not there right now. I actually don't mind saying this, but we'll have Michael Moss in a couple of minutes. So Wayne, who sits on the bridge over there, risk manager, usually right in there, you're able to see him. He's not at his seat right now, as you can tell. He's one with the cap and all that stuff. Well, cowboy hat.
Iconic.
But he, in addition to that dollar bill, he has poker chips. That he said. And what's interesting is I asked him about what's the deal with the poker chips? Are you a big poker player? He's like, not really. But the story for that is when he's looking at the trades that he's going to take, or this setup versus that setup, he mentally will put in the amount of chips for his daily risk that he wants to put into it.
Okay,
Like he'll set those in front of him and be like, okay, well, I'm betting a third of my pot. It's an interesting look. I mean, I've never done anything like that. I think a lot of times you just sort of settle in, I want to risk like 10, 20% on these, and you get pretty standard with that. But it's interesting because he is a visual reminder. There's Wayne.
Heyo.
It's a visual reminder. You can I don't know, you can't see the poker chips. They're there somewhere.
They're there.
Can't see the dollar bill.
Right there.
The only things I have at my desk, I've got my gunners. Well, they're not really gunners, these fake ones. Got my daughter's baseball card. Yeah. Oh, and I have the rock. Like, she made me this rock when we were camping. And this is a couple of years back. And she loves to paint rocks. So she made me that one. And then we've got the Vegemite.
Yep.
I don't know why. We got the Magic 8-Ball. Just sort of random stuff. I won't bother showing.
I got a little like lucky kitty that Wayne gave me, and I always rub the head in the morning.
Did you bring it to the desk? I
could. Maybe the kitty will make an appearance today.
Well, let's rub it for good luck, and then maybe Tesla will break 235.
Oh, can you guys see it? No, not really. It's in the center, in the center of the monitor stand.
Definitely.
There it is. You see
there
it
it is.
there.
I like it. Aw.
Okay, by the dips next
Boom.
Okay, all right.
Oh my goodness.
We doubled up.
You know what? I'm not even going to make the joke.
We just made a 100% trade.
Well, we're flashing them dollar bills, which could be used for other things. We have Michael Noss ready before I make an inappropriate joke about dollar bills.
Need more toonies on that desk, I think, to cover the exchange.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's definitely not equaling 1-to-1 there on those. Hey, Michael Noss, how are you? It's been a while. How's your week going?
It's been far too long. How was your time off?
It was fantastic. Thank you. We've had quite the week here, and more to come going into not next week, but the week after. If anyone's wondering, the 18th for Mr. Powell to come through and tell us what is what as far as interest rates are concerned. Now, I'm just hearing in my ear they're now pricing in 50 basis points for September 18th, which, we'll see what the market reaction is. But let's talk about a few individual names here. I mean, it's not all bad, right, throughout the market here?
It's absolutely not. And we have launched a new tool that's going to be really, really cool to help our traders out, which is always what we're trying to do. And I'm going to show you some ways I'm going to do it. So we're introing this for the first time. We haven't even sent out an email yet, I don't think. So this is going to be for you guys first over at the Trader TV Nation. So make sure you're going and using Trader TV 20 for 20% on checkout. But we're launching this new tool that we're calling TradeWave. So the first chart I have, I'm just going to talk a little bit about it. Now, this is user definable. So you can pick whichever moving averages you want. So if you remember, probably a couple months ago, I came and I showed that we added these EMA clouds to our charts. And the idea behind them is that they change color based off whether a shorter term moving average is above a longer term, or, in this case, the orange, if that shorter term is below the longer term, signaling an uptrend or a downtrend for users that, want a little bit of a help or a little bit of systematic way to define a trend based on whatever your time frame is. It adapts. I'm going to show daily charts, but just know down to a 1-minute chart, you can use these, the same indicator. So the idea is that if the moving average crosses over and price is above all these moving averages, the system triggers buy. And then if it flips down below, the system triggers a sell. And this is going to help users stay hopefully on the right side of the trend, because as we know, trading with the trend is absolutely your friend. So I picked Kava here just because it looks nice and clean. You see there was one buy signal as it broke out, and then it kept you in the trade, which is what the people who've been testing this internally really, really love. It's helping them keep them in the trade until that switches, and then it's time to move on, and then again another buy. Now, I want to take a look at another chart here with Nvidia, and I just want to show that, right, like anything, obviously this is not going to work all of the time, right? There's no system out there that does. The idea is that we want to push in the right direction of, getting things on a trend so that when you're right, you can make way more than you're wrong. So you see on Nvidia, it had that nice breakout when it was breaking out, pre-split around $100, and that was a great trade. And then it triggered again after this last collapse, and then sold out after earnings. So again, one winner, one loser. But if you want to know how this system is working on your individual stock and your individual time frame, that's what I'm highlighting, that button right down there that's going to be on all of your charts. If you click into the next slide, you can see what that button will do, and it will basically show you the returns of your own moving average customization. We put some defaults in there, but you can change the moving averages to whatever you like. What would have happened if you had traded that symbol on that time frame with that moving average combination? You can see, right, the first trade was very good with 32%, and then the last trade was not so good with 12%. But again, it got you out as the market turned, again, kept you into the longest one. So just so then how do we use this? If I go back to Kava here, or sorry, the next slide, that one, there we go. I'm using this in combination with normal technical analysis and with kind of my own picking, because as we know, studying a lot of systems, a lot of trend following systems and all of that, you're obviously going to make a lot of money in stocks like Kava that are trending. However, if the stock is just range bound and not doing anything, it's going to do a lot of false signals where, you know, buy and sell and buy and sell and buy and sell. So what I'm using this for is to kind of offload the thinking behind when I'm going to enter a trade and when I'm going to exit a trade. And then now my mind and my time is now open up to stock selection, right? My job is now to say, I want to find a stock that I think is going to trend. And these are the reasons I think it's going to have a trend. And then I just simply wait for the trend signal to hit buy. And then I stay in it until, right, the trend signal hits sell. Again, using my own picking of what I think is going to have the best move. So I got a couple of those for you today. As of course, I always have to leave you guys with some ideas. So the first one here is SMR. So I talked about this one before. This is a nuclear play. Very, very interesting. Had this, you can see this nice uptrend. It went from $6 to around 15. That was actually an all-time high for the stock. It pretty violently rejected that all-time highs. You can see the system got out as it rejected that all-time highs, and now it's been trending lower. So what I'm going to do, so what I did first on the next slide is just showed it did pretty good on the long side and actually did pretty good on the short side. So with SMR, now all I have to do is wait for this ticker to now flip to a buy. That's going to be my plan with SMR, because I think if these moving averages reverse and if the trend reverses, this is going to be a good buy when it comes to, you know, nuclear energy and all that stuff that's been working very well here. And then next but not least, let's take a look at, or last but not least, let's take a look at Rivian. So this is one, again, my job is to try to figure out what's going to be the next trend and then let the system kind of do the work on the entry and exit. Rivian, I've brought up the panel, just show that it had 2 winners and 2 losers in this time frame and netted out positively green. But why am I interested in this name? So why am I picking this one as something that I'm going to wait for this trend signal? Well, one is I've drawn, you know, kind of a tightening trend lines here. So it's showing that the price pattern is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. We're getting this wedge going on. We saw Tesla actually do fantastic yesterday. We saw NIO, of all companies, come out of the blue and had a great day yesterday as well. So I'm thinking that if there's going to be this cycle into EVs, I want to be long in Rivian. It's got a 17-ish% short float, which represents a bunch of days to cover. So there's a lot of people short Rivian here as well. So all I'm going to look for, it makes, again, the trade plan part of it simple, is I'm going to check this every day, and when I see a buy signal getting triggered there, I'm going to get involved, and then I'm going to try to hold it until the moving average cloud breaks down, which is a sell, right? So a very good tool to help assist traders, but again, just want to make it super, super clear that your job is now to try to find the thing that will trend. This will get you in the trend and help keep you in the trend as long as you can. But yeah, that's our job, and that's what we do at TradeIdeas. We scan for things that have the potential to move.
The point you made off the bat there, the simple fact that people can go back and look at maybe stocks that they have already traded and say, hey, what did I do? And what could have been done with this type of a tool? So back testing a little bit available with this as well. Scan that QR code, guys, that'll be on screen there to get your copy of Trade Ideas, 20% off. Trader TV 20. You can spend the weekend doing just that, Mr. Noss. I'm sure we will get a ton of questions on how to get that indicator, how to get started with that indicator. Tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, you can just hit me up. You see my Twitter below there. You can email if you go to trade-ideas.com. There's a little help button. You can click there. This has been a tool that we've been working on for a long time. Day traders are loving it. Swing traders are loving it because they're just picking their stocks and they're waiting for the signal to come in.
If anyone beats the tool, let us know as well, and we'll.
Absolutely.
I don't know. You'll win nothing, but anyways, have a wonderful weekend. We'll talk again on Monday.
Talk on Monday. Good seeing you again.
Yeah, good seeing you, Michael Lawson. Appreciate that. And anybody, check. Michael's great about answering questions on Twitter if you send him a message, or if you're interested in a piece of the layout, mine, Sean's, anybody's.
Monday.
He can always send that over to us. And look, back testing is incredibly important. Like, just anytime you get a new indicator or an indicator that you're using in a different way, you want to make sure, does it work for you? Is it something that makes sense in your trading plan? Because not all two things are going to be alike. It's funny you mentioned. It's funny you mentioned Rivian there. I don't know why it's funny. I mean, whatever. Rivian was an interesting bounce play yesterday, and I do have eyeballs on it. It's trying to break a little bit of a trend today. So it got down to that low. It's not it's a loose-ish trend line you guys can sort of see. Lower highs all the way through into a flat bottom, which didn't break. And if a flat bottom doesn't break and bounces, then you look for it to trend back up. Would have to take out 14 today. I do feel like NEO on continuation is going to be a play as well, but there's so much to look at. I just wanted to let you guys know that Tesla, again, failed to break through that 235 zone. So it's now double tapped it. I mean, it got there once. As Obi mentioned, it was exactly $235 yesterday at the high. I mean, not 99. It was exactly that even dollar that got printed. We just tagged that twice. First pullback did not breach prior highs from yesterday afternoon and is held on to VWAP as well. But the second break, or the second attempt at a break, is already pulling back in $1 here. So, I mean, obviously, there's some levels that you got to do the work on a chart, and it takes you a while to figure out what the key price is. There's zero mystery about 235 on Tesla at this point.
Yeah, I think definitely going to be watching that 235 again as the market pushes up higher. Let's see what we do with that 19th hour. We already broke above 18.1, coming up from a base from 18.7. So yeah, going to be curious to see if that economic number from 830 can push us a little bit above that 235 with a little bit of tailwind. Could be nice. But right now, we got Dara at the screen.
Pretty exciting upgrade and downgrades list. To kick things off on the upgrade side, Barclays upgrading two crypto adjacent names, both Coinbase and Robinhood, both slightly positive on the day as of right now. NEO getting an upgrade from JP Chase after its earnings yesterday morning. And we have United States Steels Corporation, or X, getting an upgrade here from Exane BNP Paribas as it continues to undergo a bit of a news cycle here with regards to the Nippon Steel deal. Downgrade starting here with Supermicro Computers getting downgraded by JP Chase. Price target cut here from $950 to $500. So slashing the target almost in half. SMCI definitely on watch here. Bloom Energy getting a downgrade here from Jefferies Financial. 3M with a downgrade from Morgan Stanley. And last but not least, Truist downgrading Expedia. Lots to look at here, guys.
Lots to look at. I don't know if that's an ominous sign. The all red for Dara, but the market's trying to go green. I mean, maybe. I don't know. We shouldn't read too much into it. So yeah, with the market bouncing here, there's oddly something enough that is not participating in this party. Although, like I said, the Nasdaq's still down on the session, but we are bouncing after that number, and SMCI is not cooperating. So we talk about stocks that are trending. Yeah, this one's trending in the wrong way. It did hold on to the $400 level just recently. There was a small break of $400. Here it is. So it did have a small break of $400. I think that 400's in play today. I mean, when you're not going up with the rest of the market and able to get back at least some of the gap down that we had overnight, not a great sign. If this loses 400 at the open, it's not the actual low. 395-ish is the bottom on SMCI. Yeah, not a great look for them. NEO on the upgrades, though. NEO with an upgrade. I feel like it's been a hot minute since anybody has liked NEO on the upgrades. I feel like it's going to break 5 before it dips. My plan of action today was to look dips into 465 because I like to play dips on any gaps up in Chinese ADRs. In this particular case, I don't know if you're going to get a dip off the 5 level. Just looking at the offer on NIO here, about 700, maybe call it like 750,000 shares on the offer at 5 already. So I feel like that's going to be a big break. Clearly, its resistance on the dailies. You can see the last time it broke 5, it got to like 505 and reversed. So I'd rather play a dip off this level and then into 5 as opposed to just hammering in at the highs off the number before the open. Yeah, I'll have to wait till the open on NIO here. We're already testing at 5. Continuation plays I love though. If you're a strong trending stock on day 1 after earnings, then I'm going to look for continuation before anything else. Day 2. Yeah,
I like that. I like that SMCI look for sure with the downgrade. I'm kind of looking at it here. Prior dump here that happened on the 28th, right there. I remember we broke that 500 right off of going into the open there, and then kind of a little bit of an eventful price action, getting a little bit of I'll put an anchor on that strong move again with volume and then strong price action right there. We are trading below it and trending indeed to the downside, and that low is right here, Neil. 395? 395.16 is the low, and yeah, you're right. If we break that 400, oh boy, are we set up for a little bit of a pullback here. Now you got to remember where this thing has been coming from, right? I was like looking at this chart a little earlier this year. I'm like, why is this ticker all the way up here, regardless of what's kind of been going on? But yeah, that kind of AI push that happened, and you can see that it started accelerating in the beginning of 2024. We're pretty much right back there, Neil. So potentially this thing on a 12-month chart,
it's insane.
That is a hard top wick. Look at that right there. So the wick high is 1.2. We're at 414, Neil. So I'd be curious to know how we end off the year on SMCI. I like that.
Round trip?
A little bit of a trend. Yeah, a little bit of
symmetrical
action.
Did it come all this way not to get back to where it was in January?
Yeah. Let's see.
We'll see.
I missed something?
No.
I don't know. Let's have a look at the overall market here. Still, I mean, trying to hold on to gains. We're almost back to positive territory here for the NASDAQ, ES, S&P is positive now.
It is. It's up 0.08, but we did break that 5,500 level overnight, that Brecher ledge, or I guess it's being called around here. We're back above it right now. 5,520 is the overnight high. Look, we're going to have to use that 54.75 as support because we did print below it on the overnight print. So 54.75 as support to that resistance level. If we really get going here, we had trouble breaking through 55.50.
All right, if you haven't done so yet, make sure you go down to the description of this video, hit the link for the watch list, enter your email address, and then we do your homework for you and send it to you in a nice package every single morning right to your inbox. Everything you need to know in the pre-market that's moving around and why, delivered right to you for, nothing. So why not? Let's talk about Broadcom here to kick things off, trying to get back above 143 and hold. 143 was that last line of defense after the close yesterday when we get this earnings report. I mean, they tried really hard to say, I read through a brief statement of their actual earnings report. They tried really hard to say AI as many times as they could. But even that wasn't enough, it seemed. It was specifically the forecast surrounding AI that seemed to miss.
Yeah, it's no longer 2023, Brenda. You can't just get away with that anymore. No, look, they beat on earnings per share. They beat on revenue. They did print a net loss, though they're still losing money, but this was a one-off charge with respect to tax, so they should be profitable if they can maintain this going forward. Their guidance, this is the issue. So they guided Q4 revenue of $14 billion. That was below the street consensus. EPS was in line, $1.36 going forward. Their acquisition of VMware is contributing about $5.8 billion to the revenue. So it's working out so far, just profitability seems to still be elusive.
Yeah, overall market trying to help, I guess, as far as the price action here. Just be aware, Fed's Williams speaking right now. I think the market's kind of over paying attention to Fed speakers, but we'll keep an eye out for any comments. But still, 6.5% right now for Broadcom.
Yeah, so it was more. It was like 89%, and it ended up being more than the expected move, although right now I think it was pretty much, it's now at par, I think, for the expected move on Broadcom. But I didn't like it last night because, and when we were talking about this, what are your thoughts on Broadcom? It was more along the lines of, well, it's in a very clean, I mean an oddly clean downward channel on the daily chart. If you're into drawing trends, like it was an obvious set of like lower highs and lower lows going into earnings. And I mean, this is 149, 150 bucks where the floor was. I don't see the fact that we're rallying back into overnight highs, and what Broadcom does is go back into where the bottom was early in the move last night. That doesn't give me a lot of confidence. Like if it was trading up and around like 146, 147 in there, I'd feel a little bit better. Still going to be a little bit tepid. I mean, it wasn't horrible, the numbers, and with the reaction the way that it is, last one to report, I know it's upward trending here, but I'm going to be very cautious. I don't want to look to trade AVGO. If we were trading at 146, 147, I might have a different look on something like an Nvidia than I do right now, which is Nvidia, I don't feel like for that 110 break at this moment. So Broadcom, because it's not reacting with enough buy strength, I'm leaning back toward thinking if we're going to have an inside day on Nvidia, let me come over here, you've just been unable to get past the 110 level on NVDA. And until that happens, I feel like you got to go station to station. I'm missing yesterday in the morning, but it wicked down to 104. It didn't break 110. So you've got like a triple bottom at 104, and then you've had lower highs off that 110 level on Nvidia, which I know we're going to talk about them next. But it's the Broadcom's reaction to earnings that's not turning me bullish. If the market wants to go green and Broadcom gets above 147, I'll feel a heck of a lot better about some of the chip longs. But as long as it has that chance to hold 6% or lower, this could be a trap on some of the chips.
Yeah, I'm kind of, again, looking at Broadcom as well. Within the range of this month's high and low, right? We've pretty much still been trading inside of August highs and lows right there. Something I'm watching as well is SMH, right? Kind of a chip sector here. Taking a look at, this is an hourly chart that includes both the pre-market and after-hours data. We can see that a little bit of a double top-ish action here in the high 280s right there. And we've been taking a little bit of a pullback and pulling up the weekly. You'll be able to see that a little bit better here. Yeah, you can see right there, nice little run, 2024. We'll pull back heavily over the course of in July there, making a bit of a support at that 200, and we're pulling back in. So we're pretty much inside this, like, I don't know, just like this range, this zone, whatever. Should be interesting. Bit of a red week this week. Let's see how we ended off here on the chips.
Nvidia and Microsoft. We'll talk about this story involving both of them, but just real quick, Nvidia. I was just noticing it's made this exact same move the past 2 days in a row here, and then ended up fading that all session long. But this is kind of interesting. China's market still managing to get Nvidia chips via smuggling the black market. Surprising absolutely no one because there are no alternatives at this point. But you have that story about Nvidia and Microsoft.
Yeah, they've annoyed this company called Zockets or Shockets. I'm not really sure how to pronounce them. They're a data processing technology company. They sued Nvidia and Microsoft for patent infringement. Alleged here is that Microsoft and Nvidia stole their technology to develop these AI products. Specifically, they're in the business of data processing units, DPUs, which are apparently essential components for these AI systems. They attempted to license the product to Microsoft, to Nvidia. It didn't work out. Now they're alleging, kind of like what Apple did with that Apple Watch, whatever company there, where they basically, instead of licensing it from them, they just took their technology and just started using it. So they're seeking, Brendo, punitive damages, triple damages here. It's a bit of an uphill battle.
Yeah, good luck with that. This portion of the show brought to you by our friends over at Moomoo. Moomoo's shaking up the investing game with its cash sweep program, offering an incredible 8.1% APY on uninvested cash, far surpassing typical stock returns. This all-in-one app backed by the NASDAQ and the SEC ensures your funds are safe with FDIC insurance up to $500,000. Your cash earns interest 24/7. You can access it anytime to reinvest when the market turns. Plus, sign up for and snag 15 free stocks and bonuses up to $2,300 in Canada. Don't let your money sit idle. Make it work for you. Shout out to Moomoo, guys. Trade ideas here for Nvidia and Microsoft.
So what's the company's name? Zockets? So Zockets to Nvidia is the portion of Isaiah Likely's toe that was out of bounds compared to the rest of his body, right? Like it doesn't matter. Like it's a story because obviously they're getting sued. But yeah, so that's what and I know somewhere Raheem Alani is sitting here and he's like, oh my goodness.
The ground, is it? It's like his toe is in the air.
No, man, he's out. That is not a touchdown.
Okay.
That was not a touchdown. The Chiefs end up winning and obviously covering as well instead of the game going. But they weren't going to go to overtime because Baltimore was actually going to go for 2 if they got that touchdown. So, yeah, that kind of stinks. But it doesn't matter now. It's entirely irrelevant. Kind of like, okay, I shouldn't say that Zockets is irrelevant. I don't know anything about them. I'm sorry about that. But if you're not being sued, then you're not big. Then you're not a successful big business or big cap tech company. That's right. Like if the regulators aren't after you for antitrust concerns and monopolistic concerns, you're not successful enough. And if you're not being sued by somebody, then you're not in business as a $1 trillion company. So
if you don't have any headwind, are you really getting anywhere?
No.
Right.
That's 100%. I like that actually even better. So I'm going to steal that. And now every single time you hear me say, if you don't have any headwind, are you actually getting better? Just pretend that I made it up and not Obi. And we'll leave it at that. I like that. I know we were just talking about Nvidia. Look, it's the range bound. Now I got the data back. So after what I said about Broadcom, I don't feel too much differently. You got through first resistance on Nvidia. You haven't punched through second at 110. It's a very clear range. And to me, unless you're breaking out the 110, don't get me wrong, if you want to trend into it and there's like VWAP trend into 110, I got no issues with that. The market wants to go up and take out the highs, then you can trend into 110. But in terms of, having a definitive, hey, we're gonna be long right up here. Now, I'm not gonna go long at 108 at the open. I think you've got clear, obvious previous close. If it can hold on to that sits around VWAP. And if you trend into 110, great, they're scalping into 110. If 104 goes on Friday, then to me, that's going to be a short. And then the 110 level is available for shorts. The other name in Chipland, whoops, I just meant to type AMD and then went to ARM. Freudian slip.
Yep.
Okay, so, but I should mention, ARM was oddly strong yesterday. Just going to throw that out there. When everything was dipping, ARM decided to hold the top end of the range. So if we do break out today, this is me reminding myself that ARM breaking 125 could be interesting. But look, it's not moving a heck of a lot right now. I meant to go to AMD. Advanced Micro Devices has been a short and has been a short for a while now on the daily. You can see the trend to the downside. It's a very clean downward trend with this 135 bottom on AMD. Now, what's different about AMD and Nvidia? Nvidia broke afternoon resistance and then tested some of those highs. AMD's 143 high is the big one. It can't even get through this 140.5 at the moment. So AMD's looking a little bit weaker than Nvidia from what I can see. So as long as we're not breaking overnight highs, I still think I want to be pop and fade on the chips. Obviously, the early afternoon tops is 140.5 on AMD, and then you got 143 up top, 110 on Nvidia. Don't mind playing longs into 110 to VWAP and the previous close can hold, but I still think it's a short at that 110 till proven otherwise.
Oh yeah, that range on Nvidia is absolutely solid. I don't know, definitely been trading Nvidia for the past couple of weeks. It's been given the good, that's for sure. 110 to 104 lows there, a little bit of a range happening there. So I do like this 104. I already have an alert here, but something distinct to note I do want to mention is take a look at this. Take a look at these highs. 109.99, Neil. Yesterday's high, 109.65, just 10 pennies above prior day's kind of a mid to end of day consolidation high before we got that selling coming in. But yeah, it's pretty much in this range. Let's see how we end off this week. Taking a look at the weekly chart here on Nvidia, very, very interesting action there. Again, very similar to that SMH chart, right? Because I'm going to assume that Nvidia is a decent chunk of the tech sector, but the chip sector. But yeah, you can see a little bit of two red weeks in a row, about to end this week today. Let's see where we do. We're already kind of making a little bit of a bottom wick there with those 104 lows, triple bottom, almost quadruple bottom as of today, right, Neil? So in the pre-market's already bouncing off of that 104 area. What is the pre-market low, you may ask? pre-market low 104.37, so just within that range. And then look at the bid that we've been getting, 108s coming in off of the open today, and Softy as well. Softy, a little distinctly different. It hasn't really necessarily been ranging, but a distinct downtrend over the past couple of weeks right there as well. I kind of noticed that this name has been selling off a little bit more than some of the other tech names, but still hasn't really broken that August 5th low just yet. August 5th low being at 382. We kind of topped out at that 426 area over the past couple weeks or so, and now we've taken a little bit of a pullback. 400 should be interesting. We're only about 8 points away. Let's see what today brings. I'm not expecting too much, but if things fall into my lap, I'll definitely be taking those.
All right, let's go on to UiPath, on the other hand, with a better than expected report, up better part of 9% here was when we got about 14 early on this morning, but pulling back to 1380 here, right across the board. Pretty impressive here. If you do zoom out, however, I don't want to rain on the parade here. If you zoom out on UiPath, it's a little bit of a different story.
Yeah, I was just about to say that this stock's underperformed the S&P, but I think that shows it a lot better there, Brendo. But good look for them, 8.5%. Was up a little bit higher. Here's a look. They beat on EPS. They printed a lot better what the street was looking for. They beat on revenue. The earnings surprise was about 33%. The revenue surprise was about 4%. Now they're actually looking possibly here at a bit of a headwind with their consensus EPS guide. A little bit low, well, in line with what analysts were looking for. So we'll have to see how they do, but already up nicely in the pre.
Yeah, not a heck of a lot of participation here as far as volume is concerned in the pre-market, guys, but hard to ignore here for UiPath today.
We did.
Yeah, I think you can't ignore earnings names. I know everyone's going to be all about the chips and looking at the overall market after a non-farm payroll, but I think we got to be able to respect a stock it's got a 7% short float. You look at what happened back in May when it got dumped, and now it's finally breaking out these levels. It's about 1330 that was the prior resistance. Anybody want to guess where this dipped into in the aftermarket? Spoiler alert, 1330. I don't know. Sometimes it's funny. Like that earnings come out, it goes all the way $14, dips into 1330 and holds higher. Now it doesn't seem like it wants to retest breaking pre-market lows. If it does, 1330. If we never break the pre-market lows, I think it's set up to just break out the 14. It'd be nicer if it had a bigger short float. I'd like it a heck of a lot more. The reason why I'm leaning more towards a dip buy is the market obviously just went to the upside. You saw it all go. This didn't really do anything off that number. Like, we just essentially hung out in the range on UiPath. So if that's going to happen, if it's not going to rally with the market, it doesn't make me favor the break in that moment. It makes me favor the dip buy, like a patient move. If it tries to fill in the gap, remember where the levels are on the daily chart and then wait around for that. But any type of an earnings continuation, a 9% move with a small but decent enough short float, I think it's got a chance to go. I don't necessarily think it needs to be at the top of the list for breaks. There's way too many things trading at key levels. I mean, Nvidia's going to move around. We already know that. Tesla's already at that 235 level. NIO's going to be at $5 in 2 seconds. So there's a heck of a lot more happening than UiPath, which is holding the upper end of the range. That's good. But when you don't break out of the top when the market's making this move, it would have me think the first move could be a retest of that pre-market low and then wait for 13.3.
Yeah, I like that. Again, UiPath gapping up above some of these prior levels here. Let's take a look at a higher time frame right here real quick. So yeah, look at that. We're in that gap area, right? Sure. In the past, so over the past 2023, 2022, partially as well, we've been kind of chopping in that area. But yeah, looking left, we have this. Let's see if some of these prior supports, turn into resistance as we attempt to push back and maybe fill a little bit of this gap from prior earnings here. But yeah, a little bit of a gap up above multi-month highs right here. So support I have here around 1330s, and then maybe some resistance. Just looking back at the chart right here, resistance underneath 14s, resistance underneath just 15 right there, 1482-ish area. Now, of course, you can zoom in a little bit more, go down to the lower time frames, and see exactly, specifically, if there's any sort of interesting price action in and around some of these levels to really hone into what prices you might want to be, again, watching price action and tape at are watching the chart at. But yeah, a little bit of a gap up. Let's see if we get that continuation past that 14 on UiPath today. Decent earnings.
We're just talking about MBLY down 3% here in the pre-market. I went through a ton of charts on the weekend before I came back, or Monday, I guess it was. I'm just trying to go over in my mind. This might be the worst chart I've seen in a long time. This is a daily chart for Mobileye, so long-term lows. I mean, you got to go back to the beginning of 2023, 2022 even. But yeah, I mean, Intel kicking the tires on whether or not to dump MBLY.
Yeah, Brendo, they're looking at offloading about 88% of their stake in Mobileye. The decision will be made in the September board meeting for Mobileye as well, so keep that. We'll keep you updated on that. But the company's really had a lot of headwinds here, faced lower auto production post-pandemic, weak demand in China as well. Look, the sale of Mobileye could generate more Intel cash. They're strapped for cash. We know that because they're looking at offloading other parts of their company, which brings me to the next story here, Brendo. Qualcomm considering acquiring parts of Intel's business. I know we're talking about Mobileye here real quick, but I want to mention this. They're particularly interested in Intel's PC design business, and this could also help generate more cash for Intel, really, as they look to build out these foundries, and these things aren't cheap.
Yeah, I think the volume here this morning on Mobileye specifically tells the story as well. 77,000 shares traded so far today, so market may be expecting this.
Yeah, it's not even up. It's not doing anything. That's a huge disappointment, probably for anyone that owns Mobileye. I'm glad I'm not in that one anymore. Look, Intel, if you've just been waiting for it to get to $20, just be patient with it, and you've been rewarded for a couple of days now. Now, obviously, it's not making the kinds of moves that it did when it flushed last week, but into the 20 level, it's been good. You just have to be very patient. It's been rallying early to get to 20 and then dumping. And when it dumps, all you got to do is just sit back and relax for it to get to VWAP. So I don't think you change. I'm not changing anything with the plan for Intel. If it wants to break out, I'm pretty sure it was 2 days ago, I actually accidentally got long. I wasn't accidentally, but I got long without it really breaking. So I got long at like 20.03, and there was just no buyers out and about. I got out flat, just right back into the short, and then it worked. So it's a reversible level. Maybe it needs to break out the 5s or 10s for something to the upside. But like Intel is a sell until it's not. I feel like when a stock looks like this, that's how you should treat it. It tried to break out the post-earnings consolidation level and failed it abjectly. And it looks to me like you're probably headed back into the lows. If the market's not going to absolutely blast today, you might not see that $20 level, but with Intel, I'm always willing to join a short if I get a chance. If it's just trending down, you short back into VWAP. If it trends up, I wait for $20. It's been the plan for like 3 days now. Why change it?
Yeah, so not doing too much volume. So are we really going to be too focused on it this morning? Again, with Nvidia and Tesla and even AVGO with day one earnings. Maybe perhaps we'll see. We'll see what that open brings in for us here. So let's see if it's at some sort of key level here on Mobileye. I'm just going to go to a higher time frame right there. These seem like all-time lows, Neil. So yeah, definitely could be interesting here. Anybody and everybody who has been long on Mobileye is pretty much way underwater here. You can see that most of that volume kind of traded up here in the 30s and 40s, a little bit of a low at that 23, 24 that cracks down, and we are trading at much lower prices. And you can see the volume has been relatively stable here on the daily. Sure, you have spikes on the hard flush down, but overall, it does seem like volume's been relatively average, even on the way down. So let's see what that average volume was. Yeah, exactly. So prior day's volume 6.3. And then average 30-day volume is about 5.6. So it's been doing roughly about, I guess, around 6 million shares a day here. Let's see what today brings in on Mobileye. All-time lows here, pre-market lows, or pre-market coming in at that 12.23 as of right now. But like we said, not a lot of volume in the pre-market. So I don't know if we want to really give too much weight or precedence to some of those prices here. Low pre-market, 11.85. So let's see if any sort of real volume comes into Mobileye, but I think we can be expecting a little bit of an average of 5 to 6 million today.
All right, let's touch on Apple here to wrap things up. Coming up on Monday, the event that will be preceded by Huawei's event, notable. But we'll get the iPhone 16 coming up next week. Nice gap up here this morning, 0.7% to the upside. I was just saying to Sharif, what is with this new trend of Elon feeling the need to comment on Apple? But Apple like in awe over Apple selling 1.4 million iPhones every 2 days, calling that insane. Like,
I don't know. I bet
big
you.
number.
It is. It is. I mean, Apple's Apple, right? Look, I think the whole thing with the Monday event is kind of priced in. I don't think there's anything really that is going to be novel for us, maybe a color or two difference. But we already know that the Apple Intelligence, the AI, won't be released on Monday. It's going to be an October kind of thing. A couple of interesting coverages here from analyst TD Cowen maintaining Apple today with a buy and a price target of 250. Wedbush. Dan Ives chiming in as well here, Brendo, without performing 285. Lots of unanswered questions. Let's find out.
Shocking. 220, though, I think the real level here, guys, for Apple.
Yeah, although you know what, I like this 222 on Apple. First, I want to shout out 4XAU. Thank you for the super chat there. I'm assuming you love gold, maybe a little silver as well. We appreciate the super chat. No message, just some love. We like it in Trader League. Yeah, I got some IDs out there, and I actually just tweeted out about Apple, the 222 level, because I mean, why keep it complicated? Closing price on a Monday-ish. I mean, it's pretty much exactly where we were at the end of the day, and then resistance on Tuesday, and then breakout. Okay, I mean Monday. Beginning of the week was Tuesday, and then resistance that was broken out, and then held, and then we closed there, and we broke at the 830 number. So simple over-under. If we get a dip at the open, Apple holds 222, longs into 225. Apple loses 222, don't fight it, wait for it to set up, maybe a consolidation underneath for a short under. That's an easy line in the sand because it's run away from that price in both directions all week. So I think that's your litmus for Apple. Oh, and bonus for Apple, it's not just any level. It also happens to be the 50-period moving average, essentially, on the daily chart, 222.5. So above that line, you're holding the 50-period on the day and on the week, and it's an obvious level that I want to look at the open. But as Obi was mentioning, I mean, everything's testing a little bit higher. I'm seeing some pullbacks in here, like Nvidia just pulled back to 108.5. I think you could get that dip, but if we do get that dip, VWAP sits a little bit out in front of that 222. But as long as it's above that line, I want to be looking for dip buys and longs in AAPL. I'm just going to quickly, before we go to Obi, we should have had some imbalances come through here. So yeah, nothing too big. I mean, NIO's out there for 448,000 to the buy side. Nvidia's a small sell of 280,000. Nothing really standing out except for those two. That's a small sell on Nvidia. And NIO's only a $5 stock, so 400,000 shares on NIO isn't a heck of a lot.
Yeah, no, Apple, again, looking at Apple here, looking a little bit interesting as well. Bit of a trend here, from the middle of the week. That's what I'm noticing. Well, you got to remember, this week we had a bit of a shortened week due to Labor Day.
Yep.
But I got a couple technicals here on Apple. We're re-entering that prior kind of trend range or whatever you want to call it here. But in terms of the price action just over this week, take a look at this clean hold that we've been having right here from Wednesday's lows. Wednesday's lows again, that 217 area. Take a look at that, just that off of those wicks. So we're getting a little bit of a bit higher lows, relatively kind of entering back into this trend range that we've been kind of holding. But yeah, let's see what we do with Apple today. Market tailwind dependent. Yesterday's range is going to be interesting. Pre-market action has been traded within yesterday's range. What's going on, Sharif?
Guys, I think Obi's going to like this one. We are talking about trends all week. We'll continue that discussion into next week. Specifically today, though, we'll get into speed lines. If you like that kind of thing, join Adair and I on How to Trade at 11.
Obi likes those speed lines.
I definitely like those speed lines. Yesterday, I was talking to Adair actually about Dollar Tree and how speed lines work really, really well on Dollar Tree end of day there. But yeah, no, speed lines are going to be definitely something that I look for. Again, trend acceleration, deceleration.
Yes.
is something similar. People use moving averages as well, but it's
Whoa.
lines I definitely like here. We only got 2 minutes left. What's the whoa?
Oh, a little sell action coming in here as we just had a bit of a pullback. Just double checking these imbalances. Nothing really changed just now, but I mean, Tesla again dipping off 235. So still Tesla refuses to break the 235 level, triple top in the pre-market, and it got exactly there for the highs yesterday. Keep an eye on previous close in the 231 level. If it can't hold on to this area on Tesla, let alone VWAP, I think you could be in for a bit of a red move. Nvidia no 110 yet. It pulled back about $1 as well. Apple, all right, what's Apple doing? Apple's still holding out a little bit better than the others, but there was a slight dip going into the open. For NIO, I'm not setting a $5 break. I'm looking for a dip off the 5 level first, but it is, man, is it ever cresting at that $5? There's less size on the offer than when I looked before. It was like 800,000 shares. Now it's a little bit less than that, probably because some people are pulling orders going into the open. I think you want to be patient here. Oh, yeah. Let's keep in mind, we just had that NFP number. You've had some blasts at the open 2 days in a row that I feel like they were so good, it could be a bit trappish to take out some of those highs, and you're getting some trepidation going back in to said downside. I'll be looking at Nvidia, Tesla, obviously I just mentioned NIO there, and NEO as well, and then Apple at this open. But Nvidia 110 doesn't look like it's going to get there for the fade right away. It's going to dip back into this 107 where VWAP is going to be the test for us. And I don't want to sleep on Coinbase. Coinbase is a ways away from that 160 level. That was an over-under for me. If it does test and bounce off 160 again, I would be interested in that long. But Coins is like $3 away from that. Adara wearing the red to end the week. Oh no! Ring it in 3, 2, and 1. I don't know how I feel about the red. I don't want us to be red. Like, hopefully it was all black yesterday and it was a good day. Whoa, okay, Tesla's really dropping here.
Complaints with red. Now, you know, I might be, well, I should say I try to be good trade bias, but sometimes a little more short bias than long bias. I would have to admit there. But yeah, a little bit of a pullback happening, and yeah, I definitely want to heed Neil's words. A little bit of a patience. A little bit of patience to be practiced here off the open. 108 pulling back here. 233s testing on Tesla, holding a little bit of a VWAP there as well. So got to keep eyes on that one. Again, what I've been noticing, Neil, is like over the past. So last week I had some decent trading on in terms of the entries that I had. But some of these exits could definitely be worked on. But something I did notice all of last week was I was extremely patient for things to kind of come, right? It's like, all right, cool. I can be kind of chasing some of that momentum right off of the open. But I think just sit back, kind of wait for momentum to dissipate, and then take the other side is definitely a much more chill vibe for me, and I like to kind of deal with that there. 107 halves, a little bit of size there, probably going to get taken, coming in real hot. 107 halves on Nvidia, but yeah, we're near the top of the range. We rejected 109, right? And Tesla as well, kind of pulling Tesla's back really hard off of that 235. 235. Just shy of 235 are those pre-market highs, and we're taking a bit of a pullback here. Market extended from 18.7 all the way up to almost 19th thou. We're holding above that 18.9 as of right now. A bit of a chop and churn here, consolidation in this area, just 50 points away from that 19th thou. Oh boy, here we go.
No, you didn't, UiPath.
230s coming in on Tesla. What is UiPath doing?
So as I said, I was going to be looking at Tesla, Nvidia. Nvidia didn't get to 110. Tesla didn't break 235. It actually pulled back pretty big. Apple not dipping as far as I would have expected, but UiPath dipped at open to 1336. Remember 1330? Well, it gets to 1336, and now it's going to break $14. So I wanted to have this one. It's frustrating. I'm frustrated. Again, it wasn't what I was looking at the open. I gave you the names I was looking at the open, and it wasn't one of them. I want to give the break. I don't want to give the break for forever, but if you look at that previous bottom here, I mean, if it makes a fresh low, I'm just going to jump out. But I am so peeved that I was not sitting there on that offer. Oh, so we'll go for the breakout and then give it to the 13.6. You've got to be kidding me that it went exactly to my level. I thought UiPath's going to do one of two things. Dip into here and get to 15, or breakout 14, go to 15. But I'll slap the L on UiPath for two reasons. Because I took the breakout, and we should have had that dip by 13.30. I'll have to wait back in for it. Holy Tesla is absolutely flushing here. You're about to break $5 on NIO. Any second now it's going to break 5, but Tesla is absolutely flushed into 228. Remember that 235? That is a nasty pullback. But I like Nvidia 107 a heck of a lot better than what Tesla is doing.
Yes, sir. That Nvidia 107 coming in again, strong little pullback off of those 109 highs. I'm watching this 107. Let's see if it kind of holds here. But yeah, a lot of hitting the bid there. A lot of dark red that I'm seeing on the tape there. So let's see. NQ also pulling back as well, right? We've kind of bounced up above that 19,000. Sorry, that to 18.9 on the Nasdaq. Let's see if we can kind of sustain some of those levels. What's going on, Adara?
We talked about UiPath and Broadcom a bit, but there's another earnings names on watch here. Samsara, IoT. They did beat here for earnings per share and for sales. They raised their guidance as well for the fiscal year. Lots of positive analyst notes coming in here for IoT, guys. Not as much volume on this one, though.
Oh, yeah, IoT. That was Raider Traders play in Samsara. I did not take too much of a look at that because it ended up going up, and I think we're looking for a sell move. So Nvidia just bounced off the 107. Got to 107.40 in here. I got 17, maybe not the best price. The low is 106.95. So it's exactly at the 107 level that it's trying to hold. If you can't get past the 50s, we are looking a little bit heavy in here. Man, Tesla's still looking bad, by the way. It's not looking very good for Tesla. That 235, if you were just sitting on the offer, was laughing. All right, we're going to try and scalp some more out here on Nvidia off of VWAP. I still feel like any move that gets to 110 is almost too big for NVDA, but if it can't even hold VWAP, you can pretty much forget about it. Apple's a strong one, Obi.
Yes, sir.
There's no question. As NVIDIA's struggling to give you like 15, 20 cents, Apple's about to break the highs when the market's at the low. So Apple clearly looking a little bit stronger. Forget about the 222. I don't think I can worry about getting that now when it wants to take out the top. So yesterday's top's about 225 and change. Would like to be able to join Apple if it's just going to go ham like it did yesterday. But I picked, you heard me say I like 107 better. It is what it is. NVIDIA got to VWAP first, so NVIDIA got traded first. But Apple looking a heck of a lot stronger at the particular moment. Oh, that smells good, Sharif. Those eggs smell delicious, brother. Hopefully the waft of the eggs can get NVIDIA going back into 108.
Yeah, let's see. Well, I did like that 107 hold. It's a solid price there, Neil, on your Nvidia long. I got just shy of 107 halves right there. Not enough. Again, 107 closer to 107s would have been nice, but let's see if this kind of sustains. Right? I don't know. I'm not too convinced on the move as of yet. But yeah, there you go. You stopped out right on top of VWAP. Let's see. We might be seeing a little bit lower than 107s. The fact that we kind of pulled up into that into those halves and pulled right back in right here. Let's see, Forex AU with coming in with the super chat. GME with earnings coming up Tuesday, Wednesday could see major moves prior from today till then. As Neil would say, the volume is not so great at the moment, but all eyes on. What do you think about that one there? GME, yeah, we've been kind of moving around a little bit, I guess.
I traded GME like 3 times last week. Went 2 for 3, so I have no issues with GME if it decides it wants to go. But today, I mean, we have other fish to fry today. So Neil broke 5 the first time. I got a bad fill, and I didn't get 1s or 2s the first time through, and it came right back underneath, and I got 4. So I just got in and out, and I didn't like it. But I'm back in at 1s on a secondary break. I said I liked the dip even better. It just didn't get there. But Tesla is, Tesla is bleeding badly. It's about to get through 227. And as you mentioned there, NVIDIA, it just lost the consolidation. So I was able to get the 50s and then came out. I'm not fighting this if we're reversing. Not going to fight this. If we're underneath VWAP, 107 was that level that I liked over under. We're under it now. So I'm not going to fight it. NIO is still holding out above 5. See what happened there? It broke and I didn't get my 1s. I'm like, what the heck just happened there? I got a bad price. Came back in and got 1s. The second time through, and if NIO's going to make this break and sustain it, there's room to the 200-period moving average in 545 with this lower high that matters at 529. I'm going to get outs on the way to the 529 and then just see how far it can go. With any luck, NIO doesn't care about the bloodbath that's happening in the market. Okay, bloodbath is overstating it, or the pullback that's happening in the market. Being a Chinese ADR, I think it's got a bit of a chance. So Coinbase is still holding strength. Not seeing anything there. When the market's dropping like this, my first instinct is, can I get a good short in Intel? The answer is no, because Intel's already at the bottom. That's a huge shocker to everybody out there. I know you're expecting Intel to be relatively strong, but a huge shocker. So I'm out of Nvidia when it lost that 107. I gotta wait until it either retests VWAP, gets to 104 for a bounce play. Even Apple's heading to the downside. So the only thing working right now is NIO's trying to hold on to this $5. Tesla is absolutely bleeding. Can we do anything with Rivian? Why is Rivian at the high of the day? That's what I want to know. Rivian's trying to go up when everything else is kind of getting punked to the downside.
Right.
I like relative strength and weakness, and if Rivian's relatively strong, I have no issues with that. Going to double check Broadcom. I think that's a good litmus for us. I said if it couldn't get to 147, I was going to be a little bit tepid with how much we were going to like the longs. You're now just trending down on Broadcom. That's not a very good sign for the chip names. But I got to be patient here. I got to let it set up off VWAP or set back up off 107. The only thing looking bullish out of big cap tech that was in my plan now is still Apple holding on to VWAP, Apple holding on to 222. But even that can change.
Yeah, so this 106, let's see if that, so 106 looks interesting as well. Some of these pre-market levels here, so that, I got that on watch. But yeah, heavy selling. We talk about how the NQ kind of looking like it's kind of holding underneath, and then yeah, look at that flush, hard flush through that 106. Oh boy, definitely. I know someone's definitely wearing the color of the market. What's going on, Indira?
Keep an eye here on Bloom Z, BLMZ. This one up over 120%, near highs of day. Entering this business alliance agreement here with this cross vision with regards to joint entertainment offerings. We do have a float here of under 7 million shares for BLMZ, guys.
Yeah, just an update. Obi's not in that Nvidia still.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, that broke.
Guy stopped out right.
Yeah, so just we'll probably have to refresh the position board. Neo long is correct. It did just get to that 510 level, so it just printed 10s, trying to still go higher. The market's pulling back in heavy. At least Neo on a continuation has decided it wants to still get to that upside. All right, so Apple looks like it's the only one that I don't even remotely like as we're about to retest our breakout. You're still above that 222. I gotta let it drift down into 222. You can't compromise on price, not when the market is bleeding this much to said downside. I mean, Nvidia's about to get to that 105. I got to double check. I want to see what AMD is doing. I didn't want to rush into anything short, but if we pop back into VWAP, I'm going to have to get something to the south side. Thankfully, there's only one long that is working, but you're absolutely getting tanked in this market. Didn't reverse at 107. 104 is a double bottom from not just yesterday, but it's a big double. It's a big bottom at 104.
Oh,
105 doesn't matter. You see the size at 105?
Oh, yeah, we just ate through all of that size at 105.
They don't care. They just chewed that up and spit it out. Yeah, first available pop. You got to get something into the south side here. I'm getting asked where Odyssey fights. Where do I think Tesla will bounce? I'm not necessarily thinking you want to play the bounce when this happens, but the 50-period moving average is right here at 223. If Tesla is able to bounce, that's a double rejection. Previous close is a short to me, 230. Anything back into 230, I'd rather be looking short than guessing bounce zones where 222 feels like a much better place to be looking for some kind of a bounce. I'd rather take a bounce on a chip name or Apple, because Apple is relatively strong. See Apple? See everything else? All the other charts we're looking at? Give me the bounce on the strong stock, not the weak one.
Yes, sir. So, yeah, a little bit of size coming in at that 105. We pull back in and rip right back above 105. So I like that. Let's see if we can get that continuation. Bit of a bounce here happening off of the 18.8 there on the NASDAQ as well. So let's see. First, a little bit of a sign of a bid, in my opinion. Let's see if that can come in and really come into fruition. We did sell off quite extensively right off of the open there. 109s all the way down to 104, almost 104 halves there, Neil. So yeah, let's see if this 105 bounce can come in for us. As of right now, market's also attempting to do a little bit of a bounce, but yeah, that size off on 105. Oh boy, was that some significant size? What was that? Over? I was trying to decipher how many shares. It was over like 8,000 lots, perhaps at 105. So definitely a lot of size going off there. Got to go back and look at that one there. But yeah, getting long on the rebid, going back through that 105, about 60. Was it 105.60s as of right now? Let's see if that 106 can come in. Oh boy, are we going to get a reversion What's going on, Adara?
Beware of PACB here. This is going to be Pacific Biosciences. This one basically at highs of days here, up almost 17%. No news catalyst that I can see on this. It is worth noting with this one, the short float, it is roughly 22% market cap of what I'm seeing, around $300 million for Pacific Biosciences. PACB, guys.
Kathy Wood. I know that's a Kathy Wood name for sure. That's one of her... it doesn't really matter. We'll get to that later if it actually does something more. Apple retook 224 there. It held on to VWAP. It's about to break the high of the day. I think longs into 225 change. This is 225 and a quarter. That was yesterday's highs. Longs into that. Going to be buying dips at VWAP and 224 even. If I see a monster offer at the even dollar, then I'm going to like that as well. So let's see if we can't get into 225. The Nasdaq's trying to battle back here. I see Nvidia is making a bit of a bid. Even Tesla's catching a bounce. I'm not that bullish on Tesla, though. So I'm not looking bounce on Tesla. Apple was the one that held on to key price levels and held on to VWAP in here, but it's screaming into this 225. If I see a few mil on the offer, I'm going to take that win. Because the market's still red, right? Like we did have that big pullback. The market's still red. Yeah. I don't want to get too far away from that. What's on the offer there? Nothing. Not much on the offer of 225 there for Apple, and it just chewed right through it, although refreshers at 225 here on AAPL. You know my style. If it's overhead resistance, I want to get out, play the dip back into it. So I'm just going to quickly take the scalp trade. We got the breakthrough 224 back into that 225. Now we'll play some next steps. I take my earpiece out. I don't know. I'll get it back on. I was just getting some weird static, guys.
Yeah, that's so we're holding. We pull back through that 106 right now. Market strong wick again, but kind of let's see how much time is left on the 15-minute. We got 5 seconds left on the 15-minute. Let's see if we can sustain this 105 level here on Nvidia, or do we trade a little bit lower there? But that bounce off of 105, a little bit distinct. Let's see if we can reclaim that 106. Oh boy, we're getting a little bit of volatility here. So green candle on this second 15 minutes so far here on the Nasdaq and the ES, still holding some of its highs there from that morning run up off of that economic number there. So 105 halves. Let's see if we can sustain 105 halves as of right now. I did have a little bit of an aggressive add into that 106, but not as much as I had down here. So let's see if we can reclaim some of those 106s and take a little bit of a bounce. But yeah, crazy flush. We talk about reversions. Tesla, nowhere to be seen is the reversion there, Neil. 223s from 235s in the pre-market. Oh boy, that's a 10-point run to the downside, down about almost 2.6%, over 2.6% right here on the day. And look at the Nasdaq, a little bit of a bounce. Let's see if we can get to that 18.9. Again, I like to play with those 100-point levels there. Let's see. We did a bit of a wick action off of that 18.8, and we're pulling back up. Let's see if we can kind of sustain some of this action here to the downside or to the upside. I don't know, but that trend off of open definitely to the downside as of right now, Neil. What else is going on? I got an SMCI alert. We were talking about 396. That 396 has just broken, Neil. So SMCI to the downside. 400 already broke down. What are you looking at?
I'm obviously looking at Apple, but the other thing I looked at is Intel. I wasn't fast enough. So Apple's pulling back off 225, so it was a good out. But right when that opportunity was there to short Intel off of VWAP and join the trend, I wasn't looking at the right stock. So if it gets back into VWAP, that's about 1940. On Intel, I still favor the short side on that one. Tesla just refused to catch a bid. I was thinking back into 230, previous close would be a short trade. But I'm looking over at Apple. That looked like from 2 seconds ago, Apple looked like it was pulling back in for a 224 retest. Now it's back in through the highs. Apple might just want the top here.
Yep.
225 and a quarter. I think it wants the top. Adara, what do you have?
Lots of small caps here and watch. Another one is going to be TVTX. That is Travere. This one pushing into new high of days with increasing volume here. We have this company saying they've got FDA approval for its kidney disease drug, getting price target increases from BofA Securities and H.C. Wainwright this morning. They do have a short float of around 12%, so TVTX here, guys.
TVTX, we'll keep an eye out for that one. All right, you're starting to catch a little bit of a bid there in Tesla. Apple still hasn't broken that local high. But what I like about Apple, obviously, if it's at highs when the market is trying to get back to them, I think it's going to be the strong ones. We got out looking for a dip, and now we just have to be patient. Are we actually taking out the quarters, or are we just getting the dip back in a previous high or VWAP? Currently, it looks like it's going to be that break that is looming in here. How's Nvidia doing? Because if we get to VWAP on Intel again, I'm probably shorting it. It's going to possibly stink if Nvidia is blowing through VWAP on its own rate.
Yeah, VWAP Nvidia is at 106.60s. We're trading 106s as of right now, so just about 106.10, so just about 50 pennies shy of that VWAP right there, as the market does attempt to do a little bit of a bid up there. But you can see the ES relatively strong there. The NQ had a much stronger pullback, much more aggressive pullback that did pretty much wick that opening, I guess, not that opening, but again, economic number 830, the opening of that candle, we did wick that, and we're taking a little bit of a bounce here. Again, let's see if we can kind of push into that VWAP here. I'm watching Tesla as well. Tesla low day 223.60s as of right now, but aggressive selling all the way to the downside. Let's see if more of that selling on Tesla will come into fruition there. TSM as well. I'm looking at some of these chips. TSM, oh boy, we attempted to break yesterday's high on TSM, flushing all the way back down into range lows just above that 160 halves on TSM. Intel, yeah, a little bit to the downside as well. SMCI bouncing back, and let's see that the high of this 15-minute candle, Neil, is 400.05. We're trading at 398s as of right now on SMCI. So I also got TQs pulling back off of a little bit of a resistance level here. So again, NASDAQ as well, 19,000. Potentially a little bit of an interesting level as well. We did pull back aggressively off of that one. Nvidia still holding this 106, man. Oh boy, are we going to make it? I don't know. VWAP, it seems like it's heavy as of right now.
Heavy.
But again, off of the open, extremely heavy, aggressive selling. Again, it is a Friday, end of the week. We talk about where Nvidia and some of these other names may or may not close on the week. Oh boy, we're getting some aggressive selling as well. Look at that NASDAQ candle go a little bit green to red there. Let's see if this 105 sustains.
Yeah, we're starting to get back in. I did get Intel close to VWAP there, but the second you said SMCI and 400, it did get my attention. I know we're looking at other chip names, but goodness, that's a huge volume wick through that bottom. If it gets back above 400 and holds above, I can't see why it wouldn't make a bit of a run. But that's for another time. It's not really going. I tried to grab Intel off of the lows from yesterday. That's at 32s. I didn't get it. It broke 30. I got 28. The local bottom is 19.2. I'm going to get some out in front of that. And if we break the low since earnings is 18. It's like 1880 or so. So if it gets to 1880 and breaks 19, I want to trend down into that on Intel. Apple is going right back through the names that we like. Ooh, see Battles saying fade on Apple. I wasn't with the fade on Apple. I was more the breakout. I just want to see if it can start to hold the trend back in. With the market coming down, it's about the only thing that looked bullish. And if it holds the trend, great. But that could just be a rejection of 225. Let's go to the desk with Adair as the market falls again.
This part of the show is brought to you by Benzinga Pro. Tired of being late to the trade, always playing catch up in the market, missing out on the big moves because you're too slow to the news? Benzinga Pro is your unfair advantage. Get breaking news alerts up to 30 minutes before everyone else, pinpoint exactly why stocks are moving, and join a thriving community of traders who share their strategies in real time. Ready to see how Benzinga Pro can transform your trading? Visit benzinga.com/pro. and get a free 14-day trial.
Thank you very much, Adair. And we always have our ear to the ground for any news that might come through. I got Benzinga and listening to it as we speak. So you're getting a dip into VWAP here on Apple. I got eyeballs because, Nvidia in that 104. If it gets to 104, that's the big one for Nvidia. But Apple's trying to hold on to VWAP. It's doing an okay job of it. The market still looking very, very heavy. We felt like it could be a little bit trappish. Thankfully, haven't really been caught in the trap, but also haven't really gotten any good shorts. Intel's trying to break the low of the day. If it gets back to VWAP, I'll short that one again. But I want to see some more strength on Apple. Like, I didn't get long in Apple until it held the bottom and then broke it out. Like, I want to see that kind of strength. I want to see some green candles. I want to try to be patient with this thing. The way the market is headed to the downside, I don't want to jump in longs way too early. Tesla has not gone to 222 yet. So that's the big, there you go. 222, 2 days ago, the high. Yesterday was the bottom. And then you've got 220. That's the target zone, at least for myself on Tesla, where I could at least consider some kind of a long. If we're not getting back to VWAP or 230, I'm not chasing that one to the south side. All right, Nvidia is not getting to 104 here, it seems like, Obi.
Yeah, so exactly. It's still holding this 105 as of right now. Even futures 18.8 coming in right now. So let's see. We did have a strong wick on that first 15-minute candle off of this level there. But again, I'm going to be a little bit patient. Let's see if that selling has dissipated a little bit there. But I don't know. It could always step right back in, right? So we'll be patient. We'll see what that brings. What's going on in Dara?
More small caps moving to the upside today. This one is Big Lots, BIG. They were scheduled to report earnings today, postponed them as of 7 a.m. So at the time they were supposed to report, market not reacting too negatively to this, though they're currently at highs of days, up more than 21%, with pretty strong volume, short float of 22%, and BIG rescheduled that report for Thursday, September 12th, guys.
BIG, POPPA. I don't know. She said BIG. I'm like, I'm not thinking about Big Lots when you say BIG. I'm just trying to keep it real. SMCI broke 400. So I'm looking over, like, where is this strength in that coming from? AMD's at low of the day. Intel was at low of the day. Nvidia is testing low of the day. SMCI says, I don't care. Let's try and hold out $400. If this is deciding that it wants to make a liquidity grab, I don't mind looking long, but down 3.7 when the market's still heavy, not feeling it. I'm not feeling it right now. Tesla, still not getting down to 222. I don't think that one's looking very good right now. At least Apple's trying to set back up for another long. The problem with Apple is you're going right into overhead resistance. Like, you've got to have room to get the long to take it into 225 if 225 is going to break. And if it doesn't break, you're in a world of hurt. NEO just broke the high again. Got to find a re-entry into NEO. It got to that 510 level, lost VWAPs, was giving you that scalp trade. I got to look for that one again. But it is Apple that's on my mind. It seems like it's a strong one today and should be the focus, at least for myself. If we get VWAP again, great. If we don't, might have to look at this 224.50 where the buyers have stepped in.
Yes, sir. So I am kind of keeping eyes on this action here. We did kind of do a little bit of a lick grab of that day low there in the 70s, but yeah, a little bit of a strong selling coming into the market into that 105. We didn't quite get to 104s there, Neil. 104.60s is a low. Pre-market lows again, 104.37. So we're still technically holding above those pre-market lows as of right now. Tesla with a little bit of a bounce as well. 225s incoming on Tesla. So let's see if Tesla can kind of catch a little bit of a reversion here. Again, we got that strong selling, aggressive selling right off of the open there, and we are coming right back into some of those prior day levels, right? So okay, so let's pull up Tesla, and we can talk about some of those prior day levels there. So crazy action there yesterday. 235, we talk about that level being potentially interesting as well. Acts as resistance, and look at that beautiful reversion there, Neil. So a beautiful reversion, 235s all the way down to 225s, 226. 225s and some change. We're trading just below those levels as of right now. Take a look at this. Yesterday's low, trip 2s, 25s right there, kind of almost grabbing that pre-market consolidation low on the way up. And yeah, we're pretty much in range as of right now. Trip 290s is the low of day as of right now. So let's see, VWAP all the way at 227 halves. See if we can get a bit of a curl there. Some of these prior bars are starting to get pushed around here on the day. Yeah, the 15-minute candle right here has about almost just under 3 minutes left to print, and we are printing near pre-market consolidation low. So it should be interesting. Can we reclaim is the question that I'm asking. Oh boy, Neil, this market is hella red.
Well, Nvidia just reclaimed 105 again, so that's a good sign. SMCI back underneath the $400 level. If we're not going to get to 104 on Nvidia, it might just have to be here at 05. It is what it is at this point. Like, you give me a break. You're not getting down to that 104. So it got to halves. Maybe that was close enough, and we should have fired at it. I'm going to try it back through this 105 level as we speak. I am on the bid of NEO for VWAP. If NEO pulls back into VWAP, I'm going long again on that one. So I'm going to get into Nvidia back at the 5. You just saw me get filled. The local bottom, pretty clear here. It's got a 104.60. If it loses that low, then I wait for 104, which was the original plan, was to wait for that 104. So I'm just going to get the stop order in there. Apple still kind of teetering back and forth. Intel is on the low of the day, has not broken it. I'm still looking for VWAP to add to that position. AMD doesn't want to get me in. I'm feeling bearish on AMD. If I'm short a chip name, it's going to be Intel or AMD today, at least until we see what happens with that 104 on Nvidia. So that's a new entry for me, and I still think Apple, it's trying to hold out to be the strong one, but it just lost 225 again. So Apple might lose trend. If Apple loses trend, we're going to lose the low of the day, I think. I got to look for some kind of another big cap tech name that's going to be weak in here that I like to the south side. Well, I was just looking at Amazon. Why did I hit enter again? Amazon's under VWAP. That's looking trend down. That could be something here on Amazon. I don't like it above. Oh no, it's underneath 177. Yeah, Amazon looks like it's going to be a relatively weak one. Going to have some short plays in here. I don't think the long is it. I tried Nvidia for the second time. The first time we got away with it. The second time, I don't think we're going to. And I compromised. And said I didn't wait for 104. I took it off the 105 thinking we'd get a pullback into VWAP. There was $1 worth of room, so I figured 50 cents worth of risk wasn't going to be the end of the world. But hey, we compromised on price, and now it's right at that 104 level, faster than we can speak. Intel just broke the low. I'm waiting for 19 even on Intel, and if it bounces, we're going to short the pops on that. But here comes 104 right quick on Nvidia, as this market is absolutely bleeding here, Obi.
Yes, sir. So back to the low of the range there. Let's see if those 104s hold. Kind of watching the tape here, like a hawk, pretty close. 104.05s is that low. We're trading 104.10s right now. There it is, 4,000 lots right there at that 104, and we just break through it aggressively. Oh boy, 104s. What do you got for us right there? 103.80s coming in. So we did break the low of that range right now. Neil, what's going on today?
What a day it's been so far for these markets. Lots of downside moves in the indices and a lot of these major names to end what's been a pretty exciting week for the markets with a very spicy Tuesday after that long weekend. We did get some non-farm payroll data today. The previous number revised down to 89,000 jobs for July. August non-farm payroll is coming in at 142, so above forecast of 120, but below the consensus of 160,000. Average earnings year over year, month one, slightly above expectations, and we did have flat unemployment or inline unemployment data, slightly lower than the previous month there at 4.2%. Some stocks to keep an eye on here. US Steel actually positive on the day, up almost 5% despite a bit of a pullback. Now, Cleveland Cliffs indicating that they're looking to acquire and invest in some of these assets that will be shut down by US Steel, and they also got an upgrade from Exane BNP Paribas. We have also Mobileye here. This went down about 7% with Bloomberg reporting that Intel is looking to sell up to 88% of its stake in the company. Last but not least here, Broadcom down about 10% right now after its earnings. They beat for earnings per share and for revenue, but their guidance slightly weaker than expected for revenue, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much there, Adair. Nvidia just got back up the 104 level, so it's trying to hold on to this bid here. I'll get to NEO in a quick little second, but it is heading back to upside. Apple's trying to head back into the upside. The NASDAQ just went right to the overnight low and is making a bounce. So key level of support here on the NASDAQ, key level of support here on Nvidia. Should never compromise on price. Rule number one. Yeah. I do it all the time.
Oh boy.
And you get trapped into something like this on Nvidia where like you don't want to miss the bounce, but there's a reason to wait for 104, and that's the reason to wait for 104. 107, I like it. It's a previous close. I always like previous closes if you're going to bounce off levels like that. Now I think 105 turning into resistance would get me, I don't want to say it would get me out, but taking profit in a 105 is going to make a heck of a lot of sense. Apple going higher, that's fine. A bit of a wick bottom that I got to concern myself with on Intel. It did tag 19 even. All right, overnight lows, 19 even. I should be getting out of this trade. I'm going to take it on Intel here on that bounce to get 1910s. If we get back to VWAP, then we're going to go right back and reload. But for now, I want to ring the register on the only short that I was able to grab in there, which was INTC. Please let this pop so I can get back into it one more time. And by the way, Apple's still strong. Apple's just different from everything else right now, Obi.
Yeah, Apple is kind of holding some of those highs there. Prior day high 225.48. Today's high 225.24. So we're just shy of that prior days there, and we are holding relatively higher. Google as well. Google kind of broke a little bit of that range. It's trading just under 155 as of right now. But yeah, strong selling coming in right off of the open in these markets, man. So I guess I was looking for that 110 on Nvidia, maybe bounce off of VWAP, bounce off of 106, bounce off 105s. Didn't really work too well. Some of these pre-market levels potentially, but yeah, you're right. Got to be waiting for that 104 range low, which is I guess the most significant level out of all of those, right? 110. We kind of talked about that 110 to 104s. We're catching a little bit of a bounce off of that 104 as of right now. Let's see if that bounce will sustain. Again, let's see VWAP right now. I got at 106.08 as of right now, and we have been. Here we go. Prior bar high break happening here on a 3-minute. Let's see what it was doing on a 5-minute. 5-minute prior bar high right there is at 105.50s. 105.50s. Again, we talk about using different time frames there. 15-minute kind of reclaiming this little range low right here, 104. So we did a little bit of a 40 penny lick grab, 50 penny lick grab of that range low right there. And you can see the range high also sustained with a higher low as well on Nvidia. Let's see if we can do more of the range today, or is today the day, Neil, that we break down and kind of break below this
that
range,
sell?
that 100 push. What are you talking about?
I don't know if you just saw the sell that just happened in the 70s on Nvidia. So Nvidia got right up, well, it was more like the 60s all the way down to 30. It came right back into the opening, like the first 10 minutes, the bottom was 104.60. Remember that previous low where it bounced off 105 the first time? It got right to that level, and someone market sold it down about 20 pennies or so. So I just took some out there, and now we want to hold in for VWAP. If 5 holds, then you can retest the low at 104 for a reload. If 5 breaks, I think the move is back into VWAPs. Let's get going to the upside. Nvidia should never compromise on price, but sometimes it happens. Got to acknowledge it when it does. AMD, I'm still thinking AMD is an overall short. I haven't gotten into it. I've only shorted Intel. But AMD's held on to VWAP. Look at the wicks at VWAP. If it gets back up here, that's pre-market lows. It's VWAP in a downward trending stock on the daily chart and a downward trending stock on the 15-minute or whatever the heck time frame you're looking at. So if this one pops, I am still thinking fade on advanced micro devices. But it is Nvidia that's trying to make that secondary push through to get through the 105 level. We've been able to get back to green on it, but we were 1 for 2 on Nvidia, and now you're back over this 104. Got to wait for your price. Marks, yeah, Neo was kind of a mixed bag for me. Like I had the long, we were scalping it out, then it got me out. I tried to get back out above 5, and keep in mind, this is all while Apple was going on and Nvidia was going on. So it's opportunity cost kind of thing. Like I was trying to get back long. I can cancel that order. I was trying to get back long. When it reclaimed VWAP, I never have any trouble getting out and being willing to get back in. Like I'll jump right back in the trade if it's still valid, but I did completely miss this entry when it was breaking out 02s, and now I'm looking for the higher low on Neo. If it holds 510, great. As a matter of fact, I don't know how much I like that chase. I'll let this one calm down and let me back into it, but Neo is looking fantastic. I was able to scalp some of it, but not enough. But be careful with this Nvidia. I'm seeing the same thing at this price level, Obi.
Yeah, that 105 is holding
105 is holding very well, very well.
We're holding. We talk about moving averages and trends. We're holding the 8 EMA on the 3-minute as of right now in a bit of a downtrend right here. You can see here this as well. I think this is. I'm pretty sure this is a 9 EMA. This teal kind of teal color line, a little bit difficult to see. I'll zoom in right there. We're holding trend right to the downside. 105s again. We saw what happened at 105s earlier. A lot of size coming in. But let's see if the market bounces off. We didn't bounce off of 18.8. We didn't bounce off of 18.9. Let's see if we can do a little bit of a bounce above this 18.7. Again, this is kind of where that strength came in off the opening or going into the opening session as well. 104.80s printing as of right now. But yeah, you talked about that 104. Was it 104s where that selling came in? 104.70s where that selling came in aggressive.
Yeah.
So yeah, that aggressive selling comes in, and then we kind of we buy back right through all of it right there. So I like that as a little bit of a sign of potential. Maybe the bid is stepping up into the ticker now, and maybe the selling is started to meet its match there, and maybe we get a little bit of a reversion. 106.03s is where VWAP is sitting at right now. 105 is about 700 lots, 600 lots there. Did it get taken? Kind of, some of it. Yeah, I guess it did get taken at 105s. We're trading above 105s now.
Oh, SMCI wants it.
Here we go. SMCI, is that going as well? All right, I got to keep a look on TQs here if I'm trading Nvidia. TQs doing a little bit of a bounce here as well. Again, we talked about the DAC, 18.8 incoming. Let's see if we can get to VWAP, and if VWAP sellers are going to continue to be there. Again, we crushed VWAP off of the open there. 107s coming in on the retest, 106s and change coming in on the retest. 105s doing a lot of volume, doing a little bit of a lick grab, a trap for the longs there, and then push right back down into 104s. 104 being, again, the key level of the range, and we're getting the biggest bounce off of that 104, Neil. So it goes to say, once again, that we should be waiting for those specific key levels. Why am I spending risk in places where, sure, we could potentially bounce, but we talk about EV, and the highest or the higher EV definitely being at that 104, maybe not so much at that 105. So
speaking of EVs.
Better going. Yeah, speaking of EVs.
Yeah, speaking about EVs, not everything is bouncing. Tesla's right back at the low of the day, so that EV name is not going anywhere. But I'll tell you what is important, at least what I think is going to be important for this next push, potentially on Nvidia, maybe the chip names, and the NASDAQ. Broadcom just got to VWAP. And remember, Broadcom's the one that reported. Like, to me, that's why I wasn't looking for any longs up at the top or breakouts on any of the chip names, because Broadcom was weak. It loses VWAP. SMCI loses 400. It's really... SMCI is trying really badly. I feel like if SMCI breaks out here, it might be the better name. But until we get that through, if AVGO can't get through, I am not going away from a few things here. I still think it's shorts in AMD. You just can't even get to VWAP at this point, and it's looking relatively weak. It's also making me a little bit cautious with this move in Nvidia. It needs to get to VWAP. If we get to VWAP and Nvidia and AVGO hasn't broken and SMCI is not breaking, I feel like I'm taking this out, and I got to look for my short re-entries in Intel and short entry in a general sense in AMD. I just saw someone in the chat saying, hey, I can't believe you don't have any shorts on. I had one short, and I already took it out. And I never got into AMD, which I arguably liked better for a short trade. So we have to be patient. We saw that with Nvidia. I think I still have to be patient looking for the reversion back on advanced micro devices. I need some kind of a pop to get me into that short. I don't know if I want this losing 105 for myself here. Obi, I'm going to slap a trail on it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea there. Yeah, the 105, bit of a struggle happening right there, and yeah, that 223 on Tesla. Yeah, we are testing pretty low there on Tesla. 104 bounce happening as of right now, but yeah, this is kind of where the moving average, this trend that we've been holding, is confluencing with that 105 as of right now. So ideally, looking for that. Looking for sellers to kind of lift off of this area and for price to get to VWAP, and then maybe VWAP sellers potentially incoming as well. Oh boy, we're coming in real hot back down in towards 104s, Neil. Let's see if this action can sustain. 103.60s is the day low, and that selling is coming in real aggressive, Neil.
Yeah, it came in real aggressive, but I was ringing the register in there. And again, I don't want to look at a gift horse in the mouth. The market is weak today. We did a bamboozlement when it came to the report this morning, the NFP report. Like, we were breaking things out, but you couldn't maintain the going green on Nvidia. So once 105 got lost there, remember AVGO, VWAP, SMCI trying to break 400, all that stuff was happening at the same time. Now you're right back in, and if I still like Nvidia, I can get it back at 104, I think. But the other thing I'm telling you, AMD doesn't want to go up. Like, it's so much weaker right now. And I'm looking for a possible entry. I was thinking back into previous low or thinking back into VWAP. It's now There's not even a green candle since the open on this stock. I'm trying to be very patient with it and find my way into the short trade, and it doesn't want to let me in. Like, let the right one in. I'm the right one. Let me in. Intel's about to break 19 even, so we probably got to that too early. VWAP's going to be a moving target there. But it's only good getting out if you get back into the trade. Right? Like, you can scalp all you want, but you miss the trend if you just get out when it bounces off a key level. So I need to get back into this trade. If it's going to break 19, back to the upside, I can look at 19.15, 19 quarters on the way back. Barry, I do see Mara, and I have eyeballs on Mara and Coinbase. Coinbase is already gone. Mara has yet to break. My physio guy's not going to like this one bit. No, I'm telling you.
Deep in the crypto?
Dude, so there's two guys at my physio, and the guy I saw the first time, and I don't want to give their names out in case they care, and then the guy I saw the last 2 times. Dude I saw the first time is like, he trades crypto or Bitcoin on the side and crypto on the side. Okay. While he's working on the other guy with the Achilles, and my guy's working on me, all he's doing is talking to me and asking me about what's going on in the market. And I was like, things are looking pretty bad right now. Crypto doesn't look good. The miners aren't looking very good either. And he was a little bit concerned. He was ignoring the other guy. And then the other guy starts asking me about the market too. He's like, when should I get into Nvidia? I was like, not now. I'm like, I don't know. Dollar cost average into the Qs or something, man, but don't get into Nvidia yet. But Mara's about to break, potentially, that August 5th bottom. Coinbase is already through it. To me, this is a short till it's not, but this is about 1350. It's a little bit lower than that. It's already got a double bottom. I think this should be a short. But I don't want to hit something at the lows when the NASDAQ is not breaking the low of the day. I feel like sniffing things out today is the best way to go. If I'm not in shorts, the best I can do is not get bled on the long trade. So Apple never really set me back up. Like, notice the difference in strength when it retook the 224. Now you're reversing. I'm not going to pretend that I sniffed out the short, but I want to look for something off of VWAP. We had one long in Apple. It worked. Nvidia, yes, you're still in it. Didn't give us that 104 again. This is at least still looking pretty strong off 104. I just thought we'd get an actual retest off the 104. Good sign that we didn't here, Obi.
Yeah, so we are making a relatively higher low there, consolidating above. Again, I was looking at those 104 halves holding as of right now. And yeah, a little bit of a bounce off that 18.7. But, you know, something that isn't bouncing, Neil, is Tesla. Tesla is making some fresh lows there. 220.85 is the low day right now. We're trading 222s right now. So let's see. Again, beautiful fade. I'm going to try to be as patient as possible and look for a potential reversion here. Again, if the reversion is going to be real and we do a strong little bit, I'm patiently waiting, right? I'm patiently waiting to see, to let it show me, right? And that's something I'm trying to work on. Is letting the price action and the chart as well. It kind of talk to me, and I'm trying to do better at listening as well. So let's see what that 104. That 104 is definitely talking to us a little bit here, Neil.
Always listen to price.
Held that price. Yes, Neil, definitely. I will heed that advice of yours for sure.
Well, it's not my advice. I didn't make that up. I mean, price is the only thing to listen to in the market. Well, you can listen to the news as well, and you can listen to listen to your mentors, listen to the floor around you, listen to our trading community, which is absolutely fantastic. And if you like what you're seeing and you like what you're hearing, hey, then also hit that like and subscribe. And if you want to ask us questions in the chat or engage with the community, it is a subs-only chat, so you do have to hit the subscribe so you can be in the chat and engage with us. Because, oh boy, Rainmaker, boy, things fell apart quick. Yeah, they did. No question about it. It happened fast and was pretty nasty to the downside there. Yeah, we can do that, Ramin, in a quick little second. I don't mind. It's like, Ramin was just reminding me, this is probably the perfect moment to remind everybody. The campus program is on right now here at Real Trading. If your goal is to be a real trader, and if your goal is to do this the right way, do it as a side gig or as a career, and you're in Canada, then this is the program for you. Why? Because it's free. 1. 2, because you're going to get to trade on a professional platform that we all trade on right here. If you're wondering, that's called P-Pro 8 here at Real Trading. You get a market introduction. If you only know the basics, well, great. You're going to learn from the basics. Market structure, gateways, different equities that you're able to trade, how they work, different order types, all of that in your introduction. Then you get to platform. Learn your platform. It is your key to the market. It's like Neo in the Matrix. Know the rules of the game. Know your tools well, and you'll be able to dominate. So you're going to spend 2 weeks doing that. Then you get to go into TMS, a great simulator here, one-on-one coaching all throughout this, which is fantastic. Brankles will be involved, Wayne will be involved, the boys in the back will be involved, and they're fantastic. It's about 4 weeks in the simulator. Then you get the chance to go live. That's what everyone's all about. Real trading, real markets, real money, with the opportunity to become a funded trader. Now, you got to trade 16 hours a week. So you can't have a side gig, you can't have a part-time job. And we got this question yesterday, you don't have to be a student. But if you are a student, because it is partly part-time, you're going to have the opportunity to do it. So take advantage of that, scan the QR. Well, go to realtrading.com canvas. We actually have Trade the Pool up. If you're in the US, you want to check them out and scan that QR code, or go to realtrading.com/campus. Check the link in the description of this show. And I've been fortunate enough, I've never had, I do have my own personal account. I'll trade my PA every now and then for longer term type stuff, but I've traded over 20 years as a prop trader that learned the same way, having to hit goals, having to go in the simulator, and then having support behind me of trading floor managers and a risk system and a professional platform. I've never had to trade outside of that. So I've been very, very fortunate. And also, I haven't taken a single day off the floor that wasn't vacation. I can tell you, I've put live orders into the market since October of 2003.
Wow.
And I have not taken. If I'm in the floor, if I've been here, then I have been on the floor as well. So just a couple of things. Intel is bouncing. I want to get back to trading for a quick little second. I like the trend to the downside. I do want to rejoin it, but it might just have to be VWAP or this lower high at like 1915. Here, I'll give you a quick little second to set up. You're still in Nvidia, right?
Yeah, it's holding relatively well. Again, I think my initial entries, I got to do better at trailing when I do add into the position. I continuously kind of leave it to the initial entry stop, and that's something I got to do better. I got to be a little bit more cognizant of that there. Again, patience, right? Patience, got to be more patient for it to come in. Not really spend too much risk on trades where I'm just like, okay, well, yeah, sure, it could potentially work, but what is the true probability? And again, definitely going to be working on that in the coming weeks. There, trying to figure out like a lot of these trades that I take, what are the specific probabilities of certain things potentially happening? But yeah, 105 is holding right now. But before that, we're going to go to Dara for small cap recap.
IWM actually trying to find some support here, still down about 0.5% here on the day, but getting a bit of an increase here in volume in this candle to the upside. It did break, though, below its previous level of support and resistance at 211. The LMZ, definitely one to watch here, up more than 100%, entering this business alliance here with CrossVision with regards to joint entertainment offerings. Bloom Z currently up about 150%. WHLR, this one is also up more than 100% here. Wheeler, this is a REIT, real estate investment trust, currently up here. No news that we saw in this, ran yesterday as well. Bit of a smaller float here, just over 1 million shares as of right now for WHLR. And last but not least, LOTS, this one up here about 12%. Actually postponing its financial results, which are supposed to be released today, and then moving its earnings here for September 12th, 2024. Market actually reacting positively to this, 22% short floats for BIG, guys.
All right. So, yeah, okay, so now you want to pay attention to this because this is a game changer for stock traders.
Yes, it is. You can get funds to trade stocks and don't even have to be a professional trader. Anyone can join.
The Trade Pool is a prop firm that funds stock traders worldwide. No more risking your own money, no more PDT rule. You can even get funded with up to 260,000 of buying power, Neil.
Oh boy, you trade real shares. You can short any penny stocks, including Mullen, like I say every time. And you don't trade alone. That's important. You can trade with other traders from the Trade the Pool community on Discord. So search for tradethepool.com. Scan the QR code below and find all the information you need. I wish there was something like that when I started trading. It's amazing. So get that QR code in there. Of course, they're available in the US. That's a big deal as well. And if you're going to be a trader, it's all about that opportunity. It's also about that community, being able to talk over your trades with anybody. It doesn't have to mean if it's us, if it's our community, if it's any other community, if it's Obi. You want that. You don't want a yes man next to you necessarily, because you want to have someone that challenges your thoughts and gives you different perspectives. But yeah, it's an important thing to be sure. And I still want to get something on the. I'm not convinced of this long, as you can see me getting out of Nvidia, and I'm looking for short entries. I'm just not finding them just yet. Danielle in the chat, I think you asked me this yesterday, which is fine. It's not a big deal. Did I buy Alphabet for the long term? So the entry I was looking for Alphabet was on the weekly. It needs to hold. I'll talk about this in more in depth as the market's starting to come back up here. But yeah, it was an entry on the weekly. It needs to hold this week, and then I would buy it if it holds a certain candle on the weekly chart. So it wouldn't be until next week that I would pick it up. It's doing a decent job of it right now, but the market's red today, so we'll see. It is the last day of the week. So AMD still at the low of the day, doesn't want to bounce. Nvidia is back at the 105, which is where I got out, and it's trying to make some higher lows in here. So now you're getting, what you have now are higher lows. I'm going to do it like that. It doesn't really matter. I could draw it from the bottom, but you have higher lows into a flat top just above the 105. If we lose this gentle upward trend that it's forming, I think you're just going to get a retest of the bottom. If we break out the top, I think you're going to see VWAP right quick. I think there's a lot of weakness still in AMD and Intel relatively, and I don't want to lose sight of Apple. Apple was the strong one. Whoops. AAPL, Neil. Apple was the strong one, and instead of going to 222, which was my line in the sand for like longs over, look at it cleanly hold 223. So it's holding green while the market is steadily red, and it wants to hold this 223. So I'm looking for a bounce off 223 now. And of course, as I say it, it'll probably break because that's how things work. Once I decide that I kind of like that level, if we lit grab it or bounce off of it, I'd look for the long, and still looking for the first available short to pop on Intel or AMD. I might have to change my short to go over to Mara or something, because those two chip names don't want to let me back in.
Yeah, so this 104 looking quite heavy right there as the market makes some fresh lows here. 104.30 is coming in. Let's see if we can push, or we'll see if we hold some of these levels as the market tumbles to the downside. Tesla as well coming into the lows. You look at the ES. ES is bleeding as well. Oh boy, we are selling off quite aggressively here across the board, Neil. So I gotta be wary of that one. Softy taking a little bit of a pullback. 406 is incoming. Trip 3s just shy of that on Apple, and Alphabet 154, Neil. So yeah,
coins
are quite red. Spider is about to come into 546 is just below. It's trading below 546 is just shy of that pre-market lows in and around there. 545.32 is that pre-market low on the Spider, and we are coming in real hot to into some of those levels. So got to keep an eye on that one, and some fresh lows here coming in on the Nasdaq. 18.7, Neil. Oh boy, we left it far behind right now. We're trading 18.660s. 104 is still there right now.
It's still holding one. I mean, Nvidia is still holding 104, but like it was still on me when you saw Apple not hold that level. So you can forget about it. Like that's why I'm like, I want to see buyers at 223 and a bounce off 223, or we're not getting it. So if you can't short the pops, you can't beat them, join them. Flat bottom break here on Mara. I said I might pivot over to that if I can't short a pop in AMD or Intel, which is not over just yet. But when you take a breakout trade or a breakdown trade, to me, I want it working right away. It's a $13 stock. If it gets back above like 65, 66, I'm just going to jump out of it. Like I want to see immediate flushing when you make a flat bottom break like that. What I liked about it is, I mean, I bet here, so like Bitcoin does not break the low yet, and Mara's already breaking the low. So I feel like if we break the low here, that's going to give me the juice for the first push into 13.5. So I can be out in front of it, Bitcoin breaking that low. And if it bounces, I have a tight stop anyways, which allows me to play a little bit tight to the vest. So that's the plan over there on Mara. You see I just got short. It'll probably take, maybe it's just taking a couple seconds to update. I have no idea how fast that is real time to update our position board, but you just saw me take some 59s in there. Nvidia's right back at 104.
Yeah, some size there.
This is like, remember how the long came in. It broke 104, bounced off 103.5, and it was a long back through. It wasn't a sit on the bid and let's just hope the level holds kind of thing for me here. That's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking for the retrace. Like, can it hold on? I think I need to be more disciplined this time through with the market flushing like this. If it's going to be a long here, you got to really show me something and consolidate higher. I don't want to just be standing out in front of it. If anything, I feel like I should be fading a bounce.
Yeah,
I feel like I should be fading a bounce. I should go right back to square one.
Well.
Intel's at 1897. Intel's the easiest short in the universe. You just never get out of it, apparently.
Yeah, let's see if that comes in. 18650 or 18650s are the lows there on the Nasdaq as of right now. 5, 4, 6, 7s trading on the ES. That is aggressive selling, man. We talk about this. Oh boy, that short off of the top of the range again. And looking at that 109s, we didn't quite get to 110s, but that 109s all the way down to the lower range 104s. So a level-to-level move happening here on Nvidia today. And again, if you want to look back at the past couple of days, you can see that Nvidia has been aggressively pushing into the edges of this range here, going into the end of the week. And yeah, as the market pulls in quite heavily, we are testing the low of that range in those 104s as of right now, Neil. So yeah, let's see if that comes in. We talk about that trend holding. The trend has been doing nothing but hold as of right now in the morning session. It is 10:30, so it's been about an hour off of the open there, and the hourly candles are, I guess, coming. Well, I got 31 minutes here left on my hourly candle, but again, that hourly candle kind of starts at 10 o'clock there. So I guess the prior one started at 9 o'clock. I like to take my charts off of pre-market action there, so it might be a little skewed. The hour not necessarily starting on top of. Oh boy, okay, yeah, we are.
Yeah, that bid just came in.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, the bid really just. I was watching Nvidia and just saw the bid really drop in there. That was hefty selling that just happened on the tape. And why didn't Apple drop? Man, I'm sitting here. So Apple got to previous close, right? It made the bounce. I just watched Nvidia lose the 104 and was looking right in here to get the 226, 222.60s on Apple. And absolutely nothing. Like, it actually ran into 223 there. So that was unexpected. I thought that last drop in the futures was going to get me the fill, and that would have been a quick 50-cent scalp trade. As that starts to come back in, I've been patient, waiting for Apple to get the previous close. First, we traded off this level here. That's 224. Then we wait for the previous close price. So taking it station to station on Apple. Let's go to Adara, get the crypto update. Hopefully bad.
Bitcoin careening into that 54,000 level as we speak. This was a level that served as support after the Black Monday crash on August 5th. So this will certainly be something to keep an eye on here for BTC. We do actually still have some crypto bulls, though, apparently saying that the chances of Bitcoin closing the month of September above 60,000 are higher than the chances of it closing below 60,000, with the CIO of Tier Capital saying that due to the fact that we have this Fed rate cut potential here and FOMC comments, that could actually be a bit of a bullish sign for BTC. So we'll have to see how that settles out. But interesting look for Bitcoin, which, as we know, much like the market, has its weakest month, generally speaking, in September. Bitcoin down 4%, Ethereum down about 3% here, well below the 2,400 level. Some weakness in Solana, BNB, Tron. There's really few names that are positive, and the ones that aren't really up by much. Lots of weakness in Bitcoin and crypto, much like we're seeing with the market, guys.
Yeah, that's selling coming in.
Nvidia wants 100, dude.
Nvidia wants 100, yeah.
Tesla wants 220, Nvidia wants 100. Well, I mean, this is like, you can talk about station to station all you want, but Tesla is doing it right here. 235, right back into 220. And if you're wondering, I mean, 220 is an obvious level. I don't think I'm telling anybody anything you don't know. The close price, the close of the day that it held 220 was right about 219.30. So technically it's valid to 219.30 if this level is going to hold on Tesla. The only short I have is Mara, which, I mean, it went a few cents to the downside, and right now it's technically in the money. But with Nvidia losing the bid, I'm looking over at, I want to see if I can get back in Intel. I'm now offering 19s on Intel, like 19 change. I'm still looking for AMD to give me an entry to a short, and it's not going to be at VWAP. There's no question about that. But eyeballs now have to adjust to Tesla because the 220 level is certainly incoming. Ooh, they just lick grabbed the bottom on Nvidia again.
Yeah, they did.
That's interesting.
That is very interesting. Again, a lot of aggressive price action happening here, right? So got to keep an eye on that. Let's see if we can get those 104s again. Market doing a little bit of a bounce here. Now, again, 15-minute candle just started printing. We got about 13 minutes to go on this 15-minute candle. 104 is coming right back in. So we have been holding that trend, and then again, we've been holding the moving average as well. I got the 9 here, I got 8 on my other chart. On the 3-minute, 104.34 is where that price is. Let's see if we can kind of come back in, and if those sellers get aggressive once again on Nvidia here, Neil. So yeah, 103s. Oh boy, we're holding as of right now, but again, that selling coming in real heavy. Are you guys short? That's George is talking about Obi's not discussing the VIX. Am I okay? Yeah, let's take a quick look at the VIX. That's a good idea.
That's a good point.
We should be looking at the VIX. Okay, there it is. So we did get stopped out once again.
Yep.
What is the VIX up to? Oh boy, all right. So 2130s on the VIX. Very aggressive pull up on the volatility index as of right now. So yeah. A good call, George. I do have to keep an eye on that. Yeah, look at that reclaim, a little bit of a turn right here off of the open. Very aggressive bid on the VIX. I will keep that in mind going forward today. Thank you for reminding me of that one, George. So 103s coming right back in. I tried another long off of the 103 halves. Didn't really work. Stop out once again. So let's see if that can potentially come into fruition today. No real sign of a bounce yet, Neil. You are 100% right. We should be short on a lot of things. What are you saying? Taking bets on how many? Oh boys, Obi says today over under 50. Saying Matt easy. Okay, we'll see. You let me know. You let me know the verdict by the end of the day. I may or may not have over 50. Oh boys, but oh boy,
easy.
103s coming in.
Easy.
He's saying easily. All right, cool.
I think that's easy. That's low hanging fruit because now once it's in your head, you're just gonna keep saying oh boy over and over and over again. So. I think that's going to, like I said, it's going to be low-hanging fruit. Nvidia wants 100. All right, put up or shut up. Like I keep saying, this is an opportunity, that's an opportunity, that's an opportunity, this is an opportunity. You just got to be able to move the goalposts every now and then when you're trying to. When you're joining the trend, it should be at every opportunity, right? If you like the short, it's just that simple. So I'm going to try and pick this up at 19. What is Mara doing? Mara, man. Like, that's the break, okay? So I'm like, if it gets past 65, we get out. Gets down to 55, can't break 65, up or down. You're not really doing a heck of a lot. I think I got to see what happens at 13.5, because I think that's where the acceleration could possibly come in. Just double checking. And again, if you're trading Mara, Coin, I don't know, like Riot, like any of those names, I want to see what's going on in Bitcoin. Well, it broke that low, which is what I was looking for, and now it's consolidating under. So if we get one of those break the low and snap back into VWAP moments, Mara could easily do the same. That's why the tight stop. But we're still trend down. And as long as we're trend down, want to stick with it to the south side. So you saw me join the offer of Intel. And once again, I sit on the offer and Intel just continues to drop. It's flying to the downside. I need something that hasn't broken yet.
Yeah,
so ARM hasn't broken yet. That's kind of a pun.
Wash happening here at these 103s as of right now, Neil. What are you looking at on ARM?
I mean, ARM hasn't broken the bottom yet. The market's trending down. Like, rather than chase Intel, there's a flat bottom break on ARM right here at 118. Like, look at the consolidation on ARM. If the market's going to have a free fall Friday or a quadunc day or whatever it is, then I'm just going to get into the one that hasn't gone yet. You know, it is what it is. I can look for shorts on pops. If I don't get them, then the alternative is to take some breakdown trades and go for that. Because at least with a breakdown trade, I can be in and out quickly if it doesn't work. And if we fall apart from there, then we're good to go. I mean, Nvidia's at 103. I want it back into 104. If 104 is a key level, then I think it's almost like a short if it retests that key support level from before. So either ARM breaks here, or we got to be very, very patient. A lot of people think at 100 Nvidia is incoming. If it is, then we've got room to join the trend. And if it gets to 100, trust me, ARM's going to go down, AMD's going to go down. Obviously, Intel's going down regardless of whether that happens, so it doesn't really make a difference. But I don't want to ignore what's happening in some other names here. So as I throw that order in for ARM, Tesla is holding on to the 220 level. Like, that's your move. It's gone station to station. I'm just looking for some actual confirmation for a scalp trade. There's your wick. Here's your higher low. It looks like it wants this back to the upside. I don't know if it gets to VWAP. I think you're asking for a lot for Tesla to get to VWAP. But this was the level I was waiting for us to get down to on Tesla to even take a swing at it. And now that it's here, I'm going to take my shot off this 220.
Yeah, so again, very, very aggressive. 220s holding on Tesla, and keeping an eye on the VIX. VIX is very, very strong, so maybe could be waiting for a turn on the VIX to see a little bit of a pop on these markets here. 103s right now. Again, I am attempting one other along here on top of these 103s. Let's see if that can kind of come into fruition there. But the market's looking hella weak here. Super, super red all the way to the downside. 18,950, Neil, kind of those highs in the morning. We're down over 350 points into 18.6s as of right now. But yeah, a little bit of a blood red action coming into the end of the week to kind of top us off with some aggressive selling off of that range break we just had through that 104. So yeah, let's see if that 100 is in the stars today. I'm going to be waiting and watching for that to potentially come in. 103 is holding as of right now though. So let's see if we can get that 104. We're still holding that trend, man. So I'm waiting for that trend break to come in here, kind of just getting a little paper cuts. Paper cuts is what I'm dealing with right now. Might need a little bit of polysporin after all these cuts, but let's see. We will be a little bit more patient. I do want to have a lot more of Nvidia if and when that reversion or the trend break comes in, but no real sign of buying as of right now. Multi Shredder in the chat talking about VIX is dead. Obi, focus on the spider. Yeah, the spider is. I got eyes on the spider as well here. Spider trading at 544.33s, and we've been in a bit of a downtrend, lower lows and lower highs as well on the spider back-to-back days. So yeah, we're poised for a little bit of a sell-off here. 103 halves incoming here with a little bit of a bounce here off of that 18.6 on the NQ. So let's see if Nvidia can give us a little bit of that good back to the upside, but downtrend nonetheless. Neil, shorts. Oh boy, that was the answer. I see that you are short or long Tesla there.
I'm long Tesla. So Tesla bounced off 220. I'll give you the setup. We waited for it to get to 220. Higher low was about 220.35. It bounced off of that. We grabbed the long through 50s at 63. It tagged 211 change for the 50-cent scalp win at the 1-to-1, and now it wants to already retest the low. So you need to wait patiently for your level, and if you're going to take a shot at it, you better have a good level if you're going long on anything. We're going to go to sector watch in a second. We break this higher low, and I'm out through the quarters. But let's get on over to Adara. Want to see what's going on in some other sectors at the screen.
The sector board definitely gives you a good sense of where all of the selling in the market is concentrated. And unsurprisingly, it's going to be in big tech. AVGO, of course, with its earnings moved down about 9%, but Nvidia taking a bit of a hit here. AMD, we had Intel and watch as well with a couple different catalysts. So the electronic technology sector, the largest sector here, really bringing down the rest of the group. Some weakness as well here in technology services with all of the Meg 7 names to the downside. Finance also notably weak. WFC here down quite significantly. All I saw here was a price target decrease from Evercore ISI. Some weakness as well in retail trade, producer manufacturing, consumer durables, process industries, the industrial sector pretty weak here as well. A little bit more mixed in health technology, MRK and TMO to the upside here. And I also want to talk about consumer services because Chipotle here, CMG, actually strongly to the upside and no catalyst. So watch out for CMG if you're looking for some strength. The rest of the market, while there are bright spots, generally pretty weak, guys.
Not many bright spots as I was looking at it. Mini Adara walking back. She called it with the short, or you mean the red anyways, close enough to it. So I will tell you, come back to my screen for a quick little second here because I'll show you what happened. You are going to see a purple mark on Tesla, and I was briefly short. However, it was not part of my plan to punch short at the bottom. So I immediately exited the short, and I get it, I know the market's going down here, but it wasn't part of the plan to reverse, and it'll be pie on my face because that reverse is probably going to go into the downside, but we had the 50-cent scalp, and then we lost 50 cents on the way back in for a flat trade. I did jump into the short. That was kind of an accidental overfill, and now, of course, that means it's going to go to the downside. I am back in Amara after a wick out. Man, I should have you should never take a trade, whatever. You get out of a trade that you didn't mean to have. That's a rule of mine, but in this particular case, it'll probably give me a little bit of FOMO if nothing else ends up setting up. So Bitcoin made a pullback to the upside. Amara, which I was in off that break, wicked me out. And if I get wicked out of a trade and I like the direction, that's what it looks like. See the trend? Since VWAP, there's your trend. You wick me out and you hold the trend, then I'm jumping back into the trade. As long as it's with the trend. Now, if you're against the trend, you don't want to be doing this, but if you're with the trend, then I don't think you have a reason not to get back into it. Again, everyone's going to be different. If you can trade multiple times in a day, it makes it a bit different for everybody else. Of course, here at Real Trading, like I could take this 20 times if I wanted to. So as long as it holds the trend line, I feel like I should be working my way back into it as this market, as I said, continues to bleed and bleed and bleed. The FOMO I do have is going to be every single time I try to grab Intel without taking a break of the low, it just continues to go lower and lower and lower. And if you're asking where it's headed, well, my guess is 52-week lows, which, by the way, is right here. So Intel is at 52-week lows. It's about to break, and this is 1880-ish. It's about to break them. Ideally, you would bounce off of a level like this to get me into the short and not just take it out. There's some size on the bid at 1880, I suspect, because it is that 52-week bottom here on Intel. So I got back in tomorrow, and it's right back at the low, as Intel is pennies away from making it. And notice the difference, everybody. Like, we had a couple of longs that bounced and worked. Not since the open do they work right away. I get wicked out of Mara, jump back into the trade. It's at the low of the day instantaneously. Right? Like, how long did we have to wait? Like, early in the day, you were getting longs that worked fast. Almost too fast.
Yeah.
But now it's a different. You're fighting them all the way. You get into a short, it works almost instantly. So I've managed to not get into Apple long, despite the fact that we only traded it once on a bounce through VWAP, but you're now trend down. Join the trend where you can, anywhere available. Intel still hasn't broken the 52-week low. I feel like it's almost inevitable. It just bounced off this 1880, as I said. Like that's a key level on the daily for Intel. Not all-time lows on Intel, but I mean distinction without a difference for that stock. The way it's trading, I got to be patient for an entry. When you're bouncing off a key level, I'll give it a little bit more room to be able to join it back in. Yeah, why the dump, Bish Bosh? Saying why the dump on Tesla? It could just be a technical failure. I mean, they had the positive news yesterday. Keep in mind what Tesla did for 2 days in a row. Right, like 2 days in a row, it gave you like $10 breakout, $10 breakout. And then through 230, 235 double top, like the only place that it even tried to bounce was 220. And look at the acceleration through to the downside. ARM just broke the low of the day. I said we'd take a shot at it when 118 broke. There is still this level at 117.5, which technically speaking is the bottom. 118 was kind of a triple bottom today. It does need to get through that $0.50. I should probably just be on the bid at the $0.50 as well. So as the market's trying to make some fresh lows, I waited for a flat bottom break on ARM, and we jumped into that. Don't mind joining the trend if you can.
Yeah, I always talk about like trend is your friend, and yeah, definitely today I'm not being friends with the trend. Kind of fighting against it all the way to the downside, off of a range break as well. So I do have to kind of be cognizant of that there. Little stubborn with my entries. A little aggressive as well. Multiple kind of longs here that clearly the longs are not working, right? So the short has definitely been the way to go today on a lot of these names. Again, look at the Nasdaq, man. Nasdaq is getting crushed. And yeah, the VIX continues to make highs there, 22.19s as of right now on the VIX. So there it is, stopped out once again here on the long. So the long is definitely not working right now. 102 halves, some size there, but not anything significant, as we've seen multiple magnitudes higher of size at some of these even dollars. 104s had some size, 105s had some size, 103s as well had some significant size. So got to keep an eye on that one as of right now. But yeah, Neil, let's see how low do you think we can go, Neil? Because
lower?
This is we're almost at that almost what pullback of a 500 points, 400 points ish. Oh boy.
I mean, anything's possible. I actually forgot to do this. The Brecher ledge broke today, not yesterday. It was so, I know Sharif talked about this. We had Chris Brecher on earlier in the week in the aftermarket show tonight. Well, I mean, I hope we have Ryan. I'm pretty sure we'll have Ryan. I'll have to confirm with him in the middle of the day when we get off the morning show. But yeah, there was that 5,500 on the ES and the SPY. It was 5 something and whatever, probably 550. But it tried to break yesterday and then got held. Well, today, false breakout, and the ledge is gone. And what is the Brecher ledge? Here, I'm going to do this in real time. My chart is on Intel. Sorry. Let's just type in the SPY to keep it simple for everybody. The Brecher ledge was the 50-period moving average on the SPY. And there it is. It was a double bottom. It held on briefly yesterday and now kaputs. This is what Chris was talking about. I know for sure. I can say it. I know damn well he's short today. Bet that. Bet that. Yeah. For sure. So ARM is the last thing I got into. There is still that local bottom. I said at 117, 40s, 50s in there. So when it tags the $0.50, I just take some out. Until it breaks this, there's always a chance it could be catching a bit of a bid. Going to be on the bid in the first dollar of this move. And if it breaks through that, I want to maybe take you through the whole idea. Like, why aggressively scalping when it looks like it could go more? Well, the 200-period moving average is at 115.30 on ARM. That's the ultimate target. So that first dollar is important. You're at a level where I could see some support right in here at 115. So I want to make sure that I'm getting profit on the way to it because we're joining it a little bit late. Thank you, Forex Mafia, for the super chat. Appreciate you right there. Oh, my bad. Forex Mafia 2.0.
Yes.
So I don't want to disrespect the original Forex.
Not the
Forex Mafia. We got the 2.0, the better version. What are your thoughts on Snap? I bought a few shares and would like to buy more. Well, you're probably getting a discount today. Look, I haven't looked at Snapchat today, so we'll do this live together. Because I have not seen the stock. Wait, I missed a pun. What did you say?
Snap up that discount.
Snap up that discount. I'm assuming it's down today because everything is down, right? So it's down 2 points today. Yikes. So anytime you have move like, look, if you got a gap in the chart and you start to fill in the gap, so it did make a low. That's 825, and it tried to break out 9. But look what happened when it tried to break out 9. They could round it up. Did not make the next gap, which is in $10, fail back underneath. Now it's back under 9. So when this happens, I think, to me, it reminds me of Intel. Got to get to the bottom and see what it does next. If it holds the bottom, maybe there's some kind of a swing trade. But I don't like that chart at all. Like, you want to hold higher lows and break back into the upside. Instead, when it tried to go, it abjectly failed. I think usually that means a retest of prior lows on Snap. Probably not what you wanted to hear, but you don't ask a question. And you know what? If you care about somebody, you tell them what you think. And if you care about yourself, you tell them what they want to hear. I live by those words. Let's go to Money Talks with Adara.
Interesting candle and interesting daily chart level here for the US dollar. Let's look at the DXY. Currently just at that 101 area, but what a doji candle. We wicked as high here as 101.40s and as low as that 100.5 level. So if we can hold this tail here, this looks like quite an interesting level of support potentially forming after a pretty steep downtrend starting at the end of June for that US dollar here on the daily chart. Unemployment rate coming in basically in line with expectations, slightly below the previous number. Non-farm payroll is really exciting, though, coming in at 142,000 jobs versus 164,000 consensus. Estimate here of 120,000. They also revised the previous number down from 114 to 89,000 jobs. So revision for July to be aware of. Average hourly earnings coming in slightly above expectations, 0.7% versus 0.3% expected for the month of August. Fed Williams made some comments earlier today around 8:45. No other data left today, but Fed comments at 11 a.m. for Fed's Waller, and we did have Fed's Williams 8:45, basically saying that he's, quote, not ready to say how big the first rate cut should be, talking about labor market imbalances. We know the Fed's been really focused on that labor market, and interesting timing here, the week of labor and job-related numbers. Feds Williams also saying that the jobs data is consistent with a cooling economy. Let's see what Feds Waller has to say at 11 a.m. We'll see what we get with the CPI and PPI next week, guys.
Yeah, it should be an interesting week with those economic.
Oh, yes, it should.
Next week there, Neil. You were just talking about Intel. Where is Intel at?
52-week lows.
Week lows. Oh boy, definitely the chips have been, I guess, slammed to the downside. And we keep talking about chips with the dip, and oh boy, have the chips dipped today. What's your favorite chip?
Ketchup by like a long.
Right, that's fair. I should have known that.
Oh, you guys, well, I'm pretty sure I actually heard Ramin say that. Not even in our ear. Like the second you asked that question, she's like, ketchup. That's what's up. As a matter of fact, I have a big old bag of ketchup chips waiting for me on Sunday when the Buffalo Bills absolutely manhandle the Arizona Cardinals. And I apologize in advance to any Arizona Cardinal fans, but it's about to hurt. So what I want you to do is, if you're an Arizona Cardinal fan, get your Pepto out, maybe get like whatever your routine is when you have a bad day, like whatever gets you feeling better. It doesn't matter what it is. Hug a loved one, whatever you have to do, because the Bills are going to handle some business. Josh Allen doesn't need wide receivers. Wide receivers are for teams or quarterbacks that need help. And Josh Allen doesn't need anyone. We certainly don't have any. Well, okay, we got some new ones, but they're not good anymore. Not as good, I should say. But we don't need them. We'll be just fine. Bills are going to handle some business. Although Sean and I have to make Sean's off today. He's at the rink. But we still have to make our survivor picks, which we did not remember to do yesterday. I was like, Sean, you're not going to be here yesterday. Let's remember to make our picks before you're gone. And then we didn't do it. I'm pretty sure we're going to take a couple of entries on the Bills.
Yeah.
I think we're going heavy on. We have 10 entries in this big pool. It's a big Wall Street pool we've been in for like 20 years.
Yeah.
We've never won. But it's a lot of fun to do. And we're going to go at least 5 or 6 of those 10 entries on the Bengals because the Patriots stink. And then we'll probably put a couple on the Bills. He wants to do, who was it again? He wants San Francisco for a couple, and I want to throw a couple on Detroit. But we haven't decided yet. I'll have to check my messages because I don't really check my WhatsApp while I'm on the show. But we'll figure it out. We usually we get pretty deep, and then we usually bungle it by like week 6 or 7. We have fun.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
That's what it's about, right? It's about having fun, maybe doing a little bit of winning there as well. But
we're not doing any winning in that pool. We haven't won a dime in that pool.
Okay.
We just lose every year.
I've had friends who are into like fantasy, but I don't think I've ever gotten into it. But like, what do you think is like for somebody who has never been into fantasy? Like, where could one potentially begin?
Do a free Yahoo league if you want to do like daily. Like, here's the thing. Like, if you want to do like daily fantasy, then there's all kinds of like all the, whether you're into FanDuel or DraftKings, it doesn't really matter. Like, you can do any of those. But like you have to,
you got to watch sports first.
Well, if you're not watching sports, what's the point of doing fantasy? Like it gives you a reason to watch the games a little bit. But I'll tell you what I noticed is I kind of crushed my home leagues in baseball and also in football as well. And the number one reason was at some point I decided not to play for fun and just play to win. And you'd be surprised when you're doing a home league, most people aren't actually trying to win. They care more about, do I have the hottest rookie or did I call that this guy was going to be good? I'm like, who cares? Does your team score more points than the next team? I started treating my fantasy teams like a portfolio, and now I'm in the playoffs before the season even starts in my dynasty league because no one else is actually trying in that regard. They're not really playing to win. Like they want the hot new guy. They want to be able to say, well, I drafted this guy and he worked out. I'm like, who cares? I'll take the boring guy 10 times out of 10 that just puts points on the board. And then I get to talk trash at the end of the year. Market is tanking.
18 fives.
You join any shorts?
18 halves. No, I am not in any shorts right now. So unfortunately, not really on the right side of the move as of right now. Again, lots of paper cuts that I have been getting here today on this Nvidia attempting to trying to go long, and I'm not following my rules here. So clearly, not the best of days for me as of right now. But yeah, let's see if we can get saved a little bit by this 18 half incoming as of right now. A little premature on this entry on my part, but we'll see what happens, Neil. Let's see. That 100 looks like it can very potentially come in today.
Yeah, I think that 100, if we see it, I'm expecting there to be a large bid on Nvidia and it's going to be a crowded trade off the 100 level on Nvidia, no question about it. So I'm expecting that. If we get there, a lot of things have to happen first. I mean, you're at 102. The NASDAQ's down 2.3. Usually when you get 2 half 3 by lunchtime, things will slow down. The ES is only 1.4. I mean, Intel did break that 52-week low. Technically, it was at 1884. I know I said 1880. So my bad. I wasn't very particular about that. But it did break. I didn't get the break. I got it back in on the way on the other side of it at 78. So I'm on the bid at the current low, which is sitting down around like 72, 73. Mara, just to recap, Mara, I got back in and it's holding 13.5. So we got back in at 63, and then we're just going to, I'm trying to hold for a break of 13.5, deciding whether I want to add to it. This is holding trend very decently. But once you see a trend like that, see where I'm going with this? At this point, when you have a trend like this, it either breaks the low or I should be minimum getting out. I don't have to reverse into a long, but when the trend, I'm talking about the trend since VWAP, when a stock tries to break out early and then breaks VWAP, I usually start drawing the trend line from VWAP or the place that it broke from. So I like the trend to the downside, but this has to take out a fresh low or it's not going to be good at all. I got to show you guys Tesla. So again, I did actually reverse short. I had a stop order that was covering me, and I didn't get an instant fill. Basically what happened is I didn't get an instant fill, or the message wasn't quite fast enough. I'm like, did I even get out there? And so I just kind of like punched out.
Yeah.
But I did get the fill. So I ended up accidentally reversing short, but I didn't really mean to be short in that moment, and it would have been a fantastic trade. But we're only short now. Intel's late, but we were in it early. And I just feel like when you're trying to join the short, and I'm going to do this in the lesson of the day, and it's going to be obvious what the lesson is. If you're going to trade it station to station, you've got to take every opportunity to get back in. But sometimes the best you can do is, if you're late to the party, better be well dressed. And the color of the day is red.
Yeah, definitely. I think Dara's got that one on point. All red everything, and look at these candles. 15-minute candles right there, all red for the past, I guess, since pretty much the open there. 8:30 we begin, and we've been blood red right there. So definitely a very fitting outfit there in terms of confluencing with the market there. So very red as of right now. VIX maybe a little bit of a pullback here as that 102 does a little bit of a lick grab as of right now. On the day. Let's see. That 100 maybe potentially coming in, but Neil, we're bouncing off that 18.5 right now, 18,500. And yeah, we talk about that pretty much almost a 500-point move. Well, 450 is just above 450 points to the downside from the opening highs right there all the way down into 18.5. So what a crazy move in this morning session, Neil. So hopefully you guys have been hopefully you guys have been short. I definitely have not been, and that's something I got to work on again, is staying with the trend, not fighting the trend too aggressively when it's clearly showing that we're trending off of a range break right now. But the VIX pulling back a little bit here. Let's see if the VIX can break some of these prior bar lows and we get a bit of reversion. Again, volatility, number one thing that does revert.
100%. Volatility tends to revert, but you know what? It's 11 o'clock already. We'll be back at 2 o'clock. Oh, Apple's starting to bounce here. Okay, I like Apple a little bit here. I might get into some Apple long before we're about to go over. Okay, they've already transitioned over. Apple's breaking back out. It is off 221. Okay, here it is. Thank you very much there. But it is breaking out. Man, I just missed the long on Apple. Higher lows. It's been the only one that I've really liked. And now I might have missed it. But okay, so we got to get over to the midday. It's Sharif. It's Adara. It's Learn to Trade. This is the bounce, the first one.
This is the bounce. Oh, boy.
Up to 100 points. What is up, beautiful people?